the guy standing still, it's done going across the field, and it's done going backwards.
And yet, Pat, after 15 minutes of the game, 20 minutes of the game, the last day, everything was looking very good for Kerry.
It was, and I looked at the video during the week, and I was trying to analyse why the collapse. The collapse happened because in the first 25 minutes, Kerry dominated the middle third of the field, played the ball in quick and direct. Then they lost that battle. They lost the battle in midfield. They lost the battle in the half-backs and half-hours. But more especially, what happened, this Kerry team have been losing big leads like this. Some of it is mental concentration. Some of it is a problem of not pacing themselves. The only game that they didn't start like a whirlwind was the replay against Armagh, where they finished very strong. But I think there's another mental problem in that when they build up a lead, they become very defensive. And whether consciously or unconsciously, they tend to adopt this possession game. In other words, we'll hold on to possession. What we have, we hold. We won't give the ball away. And it's a negative tactic which backfires.
Because Galway pulled themselves out of the fire the last day, Colin, made changes that were very effective. Everybody's saying now they're going to win the replay. That's the general view of the pundits. But you cannot ignore that they were all over the place for the early part of that game.
There's no doubt about that. When I look at the two teams, I think that there's a lot of poor players from both sides. There's a lot of excellent players. Yes, I think, but maybe that's the case in every All-Ireland final. I think Galway have several very weak players. I'm surprised actually that they went into the All-Ireland with Ray Silk at cornerback, and he was badly exposed. Now Richie Fahey came in there and did a much better job, but the pressure was off at that time and it was easier to play. And the big weakness that I see in the Kerry team is their forwards are very poor at tackling, and they allowed the Galway backs come out with the ball for the whole second half and set up attacks. A really good team, one of the most ruthless parts of their team will be the tackling of their forwards. Stop the backs coming out without fouling them, I will add too, because it would be a bad policy. But Kerry need to move the ball, as Pat was saying, much faster. It's easy and it's understandable when you're sitting on a big lead. Rather than charging forward, you stay back and you try and protect it. But Kerry give it the ball away very easily with poor kicking and poor hand passing. I think Galway have 2 or 3 better players than Kerry, but I think Kerry have a better spread of good players.
I suppose one of the problems with the last day column is the fact that the beginning of the game was so peculiar. It's hard to know what to make of the game overall.
Yeah, it looked as if Galway actually were much too relaxed, and it spread from Martin McNamara with kick-outs and things like that. The ground conditions probably didn't help too. The pace of the game was slow. I walked the pitch there. The ground is in much better condition today, and I spoke to Declan O'Keefe down there on the pitch, and he said that he had a lot of trouble with his kick-outs because the ground conditions were so poor. And we were wondering at the time why the kick-outs from the canal end on both sides were so bad, because Declan O'Keefe has a brilliant kick-out, and in actual fact Galway's levelling point came from a poor kick-out on his part. So ground conditions are better, the ball should be moving faster. There's no excuse for today because temperatures are right, ground conditions are right, the ball will be dry. If a fella can't play football today, then he can't play football.
Well, conditions are good today, and hopefully conditions will be good tomorrow as well for the other big game here at Croke Park of the weekend. That is the international rules test match between Ireland and Australia. And as you can see on your screens right now, the players and squads from both sides are coming onto the pitch and they are being introduced to the crowd. And they are also about to form a guard of honour for a very special guest who of course is here at Croke Park this afternoon. That is Sonia O'Sullivan, who will be parading her silver medal from Sydney in just about 2 minutes' time. So that's the scene then at Croke Park. A good crowd in here. The GAA did ask fans and supporters to come in early to give Sonia O'Sullivan a rousing reception. This is going to be something a bit special as well, Pat, isn't it?
Indeed, it's a nice honour there. She is there, deserving. It's great to see Sonia winning an Olympic medal, because there was always that thing over her that if she hadn't achieved an Olympic medal, she had never achieved greatness, and she's done it, and she's done the nation proud.
Let's go over to Ger Canning, who picks up from here.
Yes, indeed, Michael. The two teams who will be performing here tomorrow are there, and they are providing a guard of honour for Sonia O'Sullivan. What a cheer she's getting. Sonia doing a lap of honour here at Croke Park. Big cheer for her from the Galway and from the Kerry fans. And today she's promoting Goal, the sportsperson's charity. That's the Sport for Goal weekend. It's a fundraising effort. And this is to raise funds for the Street Children's Project in Ethiopia. She's a tremendous athlete, the first ever woman to win a medal on the track for Ireland in the Olympic Games. world champion, of course, 5,000 metres winner in 1995. That was in Gothenburg in Sweden at the famous Ullevi Stadium. And a year previous, she won her first major title at the European Championships in Helsinki. She, of course, won the European 3,000 metres title, beating Britain's Yvonne Murray to the tape. Mind you, there was a certain 19-year-old in that particular race, Gabriela Szabo, and she took bronze. That was back in 1994. 2 years ago, Sonia won gold over the World Cross Country Short Course and Long Course Championship at Marrakesh. That was in March, because in August 98 she became European champion at 5,000 metres and 10,000 metres in Budapest. A double gold for Sonia. And this year she's become the first Irish woman to win an Olympic track medal ever. A marvellous conclusion to a marvellous year for an athlete who is very much, as you can see here, the people's favourite. A gutsy performer who's had to very publicly live with acute disappointment, which was Atlantis, certainly. But as her father John so pragmatically said at the time, you know, nobody died. And 4 years on, and the nation has had the pleasure of watching one of Ireland's favourite athletes ever take an Olympic medal. And perhaps inspire, in so doing, a future generation of runners, swimmers, gymnasts, and God knows what else. She's certainly inspired the young women in particular to come and take part in sport. Going down through the two teams at this stage, and she will be presented with a bouquet of flowers now by Mrs. Bernie McCaig. That's the wife of the President. Sean McCaig is there to greet her as well. So she's just going to complete her lap. Liam Mulvihill in the background. Everybody wants to shake her hand. She was here 2 years ago as well, did something similar, took off her top and then revealed that she was a Kildare supporter. But now she completes her lap of honour about Croke Park. And the great shame is that she's running in front of thousands and thousands of people here and really won't have that opportunity because we don't have big track and field meetings in Ireland. And this is her biggest audience ever in Ireland, running around Croke Park. And all the flags there, the colours of Galway and of course of Kerry as well, mixed together very appropriately. And up on the hill they're mixed as well. People still making their way in. Capacity today around about 64,000. Croke Park looking beautiful. Little breeze blowing, as you'll gather, as Sonia holds the flag there very proudly. The lady from Cove in County Cork coming along what is going to be the Hogan Stand side. The crowd really give her an absolutely wonderful reception. She so deserves it. Ray McManus there trying to win the race with her, trying to get the photograph for tomorrow's newspapers. He's just about got up with her. So Sonia heading up towards the canal end, and then she will go away to the left-hand side. And all of this in aid of John O'Shea's wonderful charity goal. She's one of the patrons, along with a whole load of people, very well-known sports people. So that's the first bit of the drama this afternoon, the arrival of the Olympic silver medalist from Sydney, Sonia O'Sullivan.
Ger Canning back in the commentary box with this All-Ireland final replay. Ger, of course, was in Sydney for the Olympic Games and for Sonia's silver medal run, and we welcome Ger back as well as Sonia O'Sullivan here this afternoon. I must say that was one of the funniest things I saw there a moment ago for a long time. Not Sonia O'Sullivan running around, but Ray McManus out sprinting her to get the big photograph for tomorrow's papers. Okay, at this juncture perhaps we might just remind ourselves of how things finished up the last day between Galway and Kerry. In terms of the statistics from that match. Of course, it was 14 points apiece. That's the way it ended up on the scoreboard. Kerry conceded 18 frees, Galway 22. Kerry had 9 wide against Galway's 7. And there were 3 yellow cards on either side, and happily no red cards. Generally, a very good and sporting game. Let's come back again to our panel, to Pat Spillane. When Kevin Walsh came on the last day, it anchored down midfield for Galway, as everybody expected. Is it going to be any different today? Will Walsh and O'Donnell dominate?
Well, I think this is if Kerry are to win today, they're going to have to get a big performance, a 70-minute performance out of both Darragh O'Shea and Donald Daly. Now, Darragh O'Shea in particular had a very, very disappointing game the last day. Has had a poor campaign today. It was tremendous in the replay against Armagh. If Kerry are to win, they need a big match from Darragh O'Shea. Now, the one advantage that the boys, the big problem with the boys is that they're not consistent. They're fabulous athletes, big guys, very mobile, pacey, have football, tremendous football, but they can never give 70 minutes. But the one advantage they have over the two boys is that they have pace over them. So if Kerry can keep the game open, move the boys around, O'Donnell and Walsh aren't the paces the players, I think that'll be the deciding battle. If Kerry can get on top of that, I mean, certainly the last day, John O'Mahony won the tactical battle. The substitutions were brilliant. I mean, there is no manager probably in Ireland that would have taken off Bergen after a player off after 18 minutes in an All-Ireland final. Bottom line, Walsh's physical presence really improved it. He switched Meehan, and I mean, if you look at the last day and you analyse before the game, if somebody told you that the stars of the final would be fellas like Richie Fahey, Tom O'Sullivan, Liam Hassett, it was so, I mean, Colin referred to the game, it was the strangest game ever. It was a bit of an anticlimax the last day because the big clashes never materialised. The two free-scoring forward line, one of them, Galway, scored their first point from play after a half an hour. Kerry's free-scoring forward line scored 2 points from play in 32 minutes.
It all panned out to be a different game than what we expected. But Colin O'Rourke, you've been looking back on the game, of course. You've been looking at it from a Galway perspective and the pros and cons, if you like, of Galway.
Yes, well, I think when you talk about midfield for Galway, I'll predict now that it'll not last the 70 minutes. Maybe I'll put my head on the block on that one.
Fair.
But Galway giving the ball away, they were much too lackadaisical in the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the game. But here you have the most, I suppose, basic error there is in the book. Two backs jumping for the ball with one forward, giving an easy point to John Cowley. Martin McNamara's kick-outs were not long, oftentimes didn't get to the middle of the field, but then this is the worst Martin you could ever see. Give Mike Frank Russell 5 or 6 yards space in front of the goals and he'll kick points all day long. But Galway were fighters, and I think from the last day they'll draw great heart from the fact that when the game was going against them, a few of their top players like Pádraig Joyce and Derek Savage here kicking a great point really got stuck into the game. Donlan made a few of his characteristic runs through, but the Galway backs are terrible at tackling. Like to give away 8 points from frees the last day. If Pádraig Joyce gets frees in front of the goals, he'll kick them over all day. It won't matter to him whether Galway win with frees or from open play. And that's one big problem for Kerry. Their backline don't seem to be able to cope with players running at them.
Okay, well, Pat Spillane, with those comments in mind, you've also been looking in detail at the Kerry setup, and you'll run through this.
Well, if Galway gave the ball away a lot, Kerry took it to fine art because, like I pointed out earlier, Kerry lost the battle in the middle third of the field, but they really compounded the problem by what I said already, this short passing game. Here's Seamus Moynihan, brilliant in dispossessing the Galway player, should have cleared the ball out, gave it to Eamon Fitzmaurice, standing still, loses possession, Tommy Joyce scored the point. This short passing game, like I said, is alien to Kerry, and it's done, it's passed off, it's guys not taking responsibility, but there's little movement. Here's Tom O'Sullivan going nowhere, passes back to Donald Daly, and the ball goes harmlessly out over the sideline. He wasn't even being marked at the time. It's a terrible game. That's one thing. The second and you can see it led to a score from Derek Savage. The second big problem that this Kerry team have that compounds the problem is they're giving away of so many frees. Like I said, 12 frees, 8 frees to Galway, and they were really soft frees. Reasons to be cheerful, first 25 minutes where they played the ball quick, direct, and took their scores first hand. At that stage in the first half, that Galway full back line were being caught for pace, they were being caught under the high ball. Kerry were snapping up the breaks and putting over scores. I analysed the last day's game, and of the 14 points Galway scored, I said 8 of them came from frees, either directly or indirectly conceded by Kerry. 4 of them came from passing movements that broke down. That's 2 points that Galway really haven't of their right.
Right, Pat, well, down on the pitch, the Galway team, I think, are just about to be introduced to the crowd. Here they come. Pádraig Joyce leads them out. Derek Savage, Neil Finnegan, and the rest of the Galway players. Gary Fahey at full back, and his brother Richie, of course, will be alongside him today. And Martin Mack. Galway people will be hoping there are no major fumbles from Martin today. Let's go back again to Ger Canning.
Yes, it's Galway who come out here first. They get a wonderful reception from their followers. And as you've been saying in the discussion with Pat and with Colm, there is this feeling, I think, abroad, certainly I've got it here in Dublin in the last 24 hours, that they expect Galway to win this match. But 70 minutes of football to play. Pádraig Joyce there going into the centre of that photograph alongside Derek Savage, who plays for Cartoon Shamrocks. And the subs got their chance to come in as well at this early stage to have the photograph taken. Among them, as you can see there, Ray Silk. Sean Og, the player, back from Australia. He was there for much of last winter, and he's come back to win a Connacht medal. And he wants an All-Ireland to go with the one that he won just 2 years ago. So that's the picture for Galway as the subs move away, and it's down to the 15 who will start the action. And that was a pretty interesting observation there, that the two midfielders for Galway may not finish the match, as it were, still on the field. Let's see. We'll wonder about the fitness of Kevin Walsh, and of course Sean O'Donnell is in there as well. That's John Divilly. John Divilly today, who will be playing in his 13th championship match. The crowd still coming in here. Here's Tomas Meehan there from Caltra. Had early difficulties in the drawn match just 13 days ago against Johnny Crowley, but he had a very good second half. And today Tomas Meehan is playing his 18th championship match, and there's the man they call Martin Mack. Only conceded one goal in the Connacht Championship, and that was by Michael Slowey, playing in the colours of New York. But two were slipped past him, of course, in the game against Kildare. This is Paul Clancy here, really tough performer who missed most of the glory year 2 years ago with a very nasty leg injury, but he's back. He's got 10 points in the campaign so far. Now the introductions for the Munster champions. Kerry, led by Seamus Moynihan. Mike Hassett there following up as well. Eamon McGarrett coming through. Some of the substitutes have done all the hard training, the grafting. That's Darrow Kinnaida going by. So out they come. And there's a big, big ovation for them, as you'd expect. Kerry fans will feel they've made a long, long journey up here, and they will feel that it will be rewarded at the end of the 70 minutes. That is, if the match is to be determined after 70 minutes play. It will, of course, go to a half an hour of extra time, should it end level. 14 points apiece then, just about a fortnight ago. But a fresh start here in the replay of the Bank of Ireland Football Final Championship. Mike Frank Russell. He was a real injury doubt because he wasn't able to train for much of the last 2 weeks with a thigh muscle injury. There's Tomas O'Shea. He has to be careful. He's been booked in 4 of the 5 matches in the championship that Kerry has played so far this year. So the starting 15 with Johnny Crowley there and Donald Daly getting the photographs taken. I was down in both dressing rooms. A lot of nerves evident. Who can blame them? It's another huge, big day after what they will see as the anticlimax of Sunday week lost. So let's take a check on the teams then. Galway were the ones, of course, in the mood for change after they clawed their way back almost 2 weeks ago. Richie Fahy, younger brother of fullback Gary, is given the left corner back position. That's as a replacement for Ray Silk. No alteration of the half-back line where John Divilly is flanked by Meehan in the player. It's a bit like old times in midfield. The 98 pairing are reunited. That's Sean O'Donnell and Kevin Walsh. Up front, the selectors have opted to start Porrick Joyce on the 40. Michael Donlan's on the left wing, at least notionally, with Paul Clancy due to start at number 14. Whether he stays there the full duration, well, that's another matter. Quite a day for brothers, of course, with the Fahys, the Meehans, the Joyces, possibly the Donlans as well, and for Kerry, of course, the O'Sheas. There's Darrow Kinnaida, works as a broadcaster with Radio Naguelfachta. And they're here in full force as well today. Well, the Kingdom are happy to give a second chance to the team that started here on Sunday week last. Maurice Fitzgerald is held in reserve. Seamus Moynihan at full-back today, but it'll be a big loss for Brian McInniff tomorrow in the international rules match. While Eamon Fitzmaurice is selected to anchor the half-back line, it's Darragh O'Shea and Donald Daly at centre field. Darragh O'Kinnaida starts on the 40 in a forward line that includes Noel Kennelly and Johnny Crowley, both substituted in the drawn game. Liam Hassett is the full forward, while the real danger, I think, continues to be Mike Frank Russell. So those are the selections, and that is the man who start in midfield for Kerry, Darragh O'Shea from Antwerp.
That then for this All-Ireland final. We want to say hello to Martin Coyne and friends, We're watching in the Aussie Rules Club. That is in Sydney, and that's from all in French Park. Also hello to Una Langen in Swaziland. Now she's not watching the match in Swaziland because she's actually travelling down to Johannesburg to see the game this afternoon. That comes from all of the Langens in Abinat-Moy. And Michael Nestor, not Lester but Nestor and family in Yonkers in New York. That comes from Seamus and Mary Nestor in Galway. Okay, your Ireland football final replay. Throw in coming up after this.
A replica of the Sam Maguire Cup.
Yes, Marty, usually reserved for All-Ireland captains, so certainly Sonia is more than deserving of this honour.
Indeed. Well, Sonia, you have the Sam Maguire Cup, and you also have a silver medal from the Olympics. All of Ireland is so proud of you.
Oh, it's great and delighted to be here today, you know, and it was fantastic to run around and, you know, just wave to, you know, a representative, I suppose, of the people of Ireland who've been supporting me, not only this year, but, you know, throughout all the years. And, you know, I'm glad that they got to enjoy the Olympics and cheer me on.
The 2 laps of Croke Park didn't seem to tire you out at all.
I didn't wear the stopwatch, so I wasn't timing myself, you know. A little bit of practice for cross-country, I think.
Great reception, the people of Ireland, indeed, a reflection of what happened here in Croke Park today.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it'll be a great game out there today. The people, they're all excited and the flags and everything going. It just, I suppose it gives me an idea of how the people were cheering for me just a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I have to ask a Cork woman and a silver medalist at the Olympics, who's going to win the All-Ireland?
I wish it was Cork, but...
Not possible.
Impossible, so unfortunately I suppose you have to be in it to win it. Whoever plays good on the soft ground, I think.
Good political answer. Sonia O'Sullivan, Olympic silver medalist, thank you very much indeed.
That was Sonia O'Sullivan, recorded just a few minutes ago, but what is happening now down on the pitch is the teams are being introduced to on Taoiseach, Bertie Ahern.
Yes, the VIP this afternoon is on Taoiseach Bertie Ahern in the absence of Her Excellency President Mary McAleese, who's on state duties in France and in Monaco. But her children are here, twins Justin and Sarah, and her eldest daughter Emma, here to enjoy the match. Now the turn of Galway to meet Mr. Ahern. And the Taoiseach being introduced to the Galway players by their captain, of course, was Pádraig Joyce. Taoiseach, a great Gaelic Games fan. You have to pinch yourself every so often, I find today, to realise it's a Saturday and not a Sunday. But of course, people will be back here, hopefully in huge numbers again tomorrow for the international rules match between Ireland and Australia. Sean McCaig there, accompanying the Taoiseach. That's number 14, Paul Clancy. The last man, Neil Finnegan, who lives here in Dublin, is a solicitor, plays for St. Sylvester's. So the introductions to both teams now complete. The Taoiseach will take his place in the Ort Corla section, which for this year at least is over there in the new Cusack stand. So off he goes, and very shortly now we'll have the parade of the teams. So the 2 captains will line in behind the Artane boys band. Galway on the left-hand side, led by their centre forward, Kerry, by their full back. Both of them great pals, as you will have heard, of course, because they attended the Institute of Technology in Tralee, where they each won 2 Sigerson Cup medals. Alongside me here this afternoon, I've got Tony Davis. And Tony, what do you think they will have learned from 2 weeks ago?
Well, sure, at this stage, the videos will have been analysed. The team talks are over, and when they walk over that white line, they're on their own. They're 2 very good managers and 2 very intelligent teams. We're looking at possibly the most talented teams in Ireland. The most important thing they'll have learned from the last day, and that everybody knows, is that midfield is the most crucial game in modern day football. Kerry dominated midfield for the first 20 minutes, won good ball and gave direct ball into their full forward line. When Kevin Walsh came on, took over at midfield, stopped that supply of ball in, and the whole game turned. Pádraig Joyce as well going to centre forward. The big question mark will be, will Pádraig Joyce start there? For Kerry, I suppose they'll be looking at the fact that they gave away an awful lot of silly fouls the last day, and that will have been very high on their team talks, not to give away the fouls, especially in scoreable positions. But they have that habit that when teams run at them, they do tend to foul, and Porrick Joyce and Niall Finnegan will kick those balls over all day. The important thing for Kerry, I suppose, is to keep the 70 minutes going, and I think it's all down to their midfield pairing. While the last Donald Daly started very, very well, Darragh O'Shea wasn't really in the game, and they faded out of it totally in the end. So there's an awful lot to look forward to.
What is your theory? Because we saw it in the Munster match, Cork versus Kerry. I mean, they dominated the first half. People, I know, were reaching for the record books at half-time for the biggest win ever by Kerry over Cork. And then there was this massive change in the second half, same as the last game.
I think it's just the fact that they just can't sustain the effort that they started with. But I think it comes down to the midfield pairing. Darragh O'Shea and Donald Daly haven't played a consistent 70 minutes and dominated all through. And a lot I'm sure in their team talks as well is going to come down to Declan O'Keefe's kick-outs. He's going to have to vary those kick-outs. They were beaten the last day. Kevin Walsh went in the midfield and they persisted in kicking those balls right into Kevin Walsh's lap. They have a height advantage with all around midfield with Liam Hassett. I'm sure Liam Hassett won't start at full forward. He'll probably go out around the half line. So they have a definite height advantage there. So that will be very high on their team talk as well.
So the captains, a very proud moment for them. They'd hardly have thought that they would have this honour twice in the 1 year. But that honour has befallen Seamus Moynihan from Glenflesk, close to Killarney, and to Porrick Joyce, the Killearn player, there alongside his brother Tommy. What an occasion for them and all the other families represented in this All-Ireland final replay. We didn't have a minor match, but the crowd came in pretty slowly, kept coming in between 3 and 20 past 3 to take their seats. We did have a storming performance before this by Frankie Gavin and Dave Donnan. Wonderful music, great entertainment. So let's just get a final prediction, I think, at this stage from our two panellists, and they, of course, are Pat Spillane and Colm O'Rourke. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Jerry. Yes, Pat Spillane, final thoughts. Can Kerry do it?
Well, if they can put a 70-minute performance out of midfield, their first time open direct football, but I wouldn't put my pocket money in them. I think they might do it, but it's a very, very hesitant vote.
Colm O'Rourke?
Well, I go for Kerry. I think the game would be much more competitive. The last day, it was a very nice, open game. There'll be a lot of lads saying to themselves, we're going to get stuck in early to this game. I think Kerry have a forward advantage. I think they put my neck in the block and say they'll score a goal and win the game.
Kerry says Colm O'Rourke. Let's see how it pans out. And back again to Ger.
Right, well, that's the view of our two panellists.
Kerry are more balanced, and if they do play their potential, they should win it.
There's a little breeze here today, and it's going to be against Kerry for the opening 35 minutes. But before that gets underway, everybody faces the tricolour for Aaron Navian, sung by Paul Hennessy with the Artane Boys Band. As always, it's a very emotional occasion. Straight away I noticed that Kerry have made a change in their forward line. This is just the first change now. Darragh O'Kinnaid has gone in full forward. Liam Hassett has dropped out to centre-half forward, where he's being marked by John Dively. Now the next question is, where's Porrick Joyce going to play? He's moving down towards the half-forward line. Will he keep on moving? Now he's going to start on the 40. And a switch there sees Tomas O'Shea go in. Brian White from Wexford. He's already refereed one All-Ireland final, and now today he has that wonderful honour once again. Pat McEnany, by the way, will be in charge of the international rules game, together with an Australian official tomorrow. And now, Corey Joyce has got into full forward, is marked by Moynihan. And the match is underway. And it is Kerry who play from left to right. Dara O'Shea. Booted in there by Hassett. Beautiful catch. Johnny Crowley straight in the action straight away. And that is a fantastic kick at a wonderful point. Kerry score after about 17 seconds. Johnny Crowley getting his first. He had 2 shots at the target in the drawn match, scored both, and ended up being substituted. But here today, he's put down a marker early on. He's going to prove quite a handful for Tomás Meehan. Kerry lead. Martin McNamara kicking from the 20-metre line. Walsh is rising up with, but there was a little push in the back. O'Shea is the one who's deemed to be the guilty party, and it's going to be Kevin Walsh who'll take this free for Galway. Former junior basketball international as well. Huge man. Aimed in towards Savage that time. Fisted away by Mike McCarthy. There's Dara O'Shea operating in midfield alongside Donald Daly. Kicked in there. Taken here. Tomás O'Shea trying to get that ball away. He was knocked over. Pretty quickly taken by Moynihan. Daly threading it forward there, intended for Eildon McGarrett, but it comes back straight away. Sean O'Dwyer winning that ball. Here's Dara O'Shea. They get it back as far as Seamus Moynihan. Terrific footballer. Eildon McGarrett trying to swing his way free of Tommy Joyce that time, but it's going to be a free into Galway. What about the start here?
That's a terrific defending there by the Galway forward. Very interesting, Pádraig Joyce has gone to full forward and Michael Donlan has gone to centre forward. But Kerry are brilliant when they play the simple game. That quick ball into John Crowley and over the bar, that's the way they should play it all the time. But that's terrific defending by the Galway forwards.
This free to be kicked in by Michael Donlan. It's a huge kick. Brilliantly in there and touched off a back. Declan O'Keefe may protest, but the umpire says that's the game's first 45. But it was a brilliant kick in there, and you can see Sean O'Donnell in chasing after it. Now, who got the final touch to it? John O'Mahony there, wonderful manager. And he's a very erudite man and great planner as well, very meticulous about everything that he does. This 45 will be taken by the team captain himself, Pádraig Joyce. I mean, now he's got a little breeze behind him. Maybe it's a little bit more than little. Gaining in vigour the whole time, the wind. Joyce. Hit in fairly low, dropped down by Savage, won back by Kerry. They take it away again, Eamon Fitzmaurice. Good link-up play. Couple of hefty challenges in there, and that's going to be Kerry's free kick. They go short to Tomás O'Shea, younger brother of Dara. Inside once again towards the target man, Johnny Crowley. They free up Eildon McGarrett. Dwyer trying to close down the space open to him. He drops it to the right, and he's put it badly wide. He had sufficient time there to have either kicked a point or played it inside towards Dara O'Kineda. Pádraig O'Shea pacing up and down the sideline. Well, what can the manager do at this stage? He has to make the correct decisions, of course, the correct calls from the sideline, but the preparation has been, as usual, first class. Martin McNamara from Currafin in Galway. Towards Kevin Walsh this time. Daly is again deemed to be pushing. The last time it was Dara O'Shea. Walsh is proving a bit of a handful. His sheer physique in midfield, that's a desperate kick away. Real waste of possession, you can't do that. Neil Finnegan there. Made a run for that one, but he hadn't the ghost in hell's chance of getting it. Tomás O'Shea from Onhueltoch to kick this ball back in for Kerry. Early stages of the match. Just a point scored so far. Sean O'Donnell still remembered for 2 great points he scored here in Croke Park back in 98, semi-final and final. This time it's Donald Daly. His jersey was being tugged. Back out towards Johnny Crowley. He's way out around 65 metres from the Galway goal. Towards Aidan McGarrett, an impossible ball to get. Broken down by Depware. One back here again by Mike Frank Russell. First time he's got on the ball this time. Dara O'Kineda pointing the way to Aidan McGarrett. Kerry look for a second score. McGarrett under siege somewhat. Tricky ball in there. McNamara fists it away, and they can't prevent it from going for the game's second 45, and it'll be the first of the day for Kerry. He's been very busy. Well, familiar face in the crowd there, representing the interests of Galway as ever. This kick will be taken by Dara O'Kineda. This to put 2 points on the scoreboard for Kerry. Dropping right in, broken down, and fortunately from a Galway point of view, John Divilly was there, waiting to gleefully accept it. Trying to get that one away from danger. Joyce back to Divilly once again, surrounded by Kerry men. They free it out, however. Here comes Sean O'Dwyer, likes to attack. So it'll be the duty of Aidan McGarrett to tie him back there at left-half back if at all possible. Porrick Joyce has come way out from his full forward position that he started in. That's in by Paul Clancy. Here's an opportunity. A goal! The opening goal of the match. Declan Meehan coming way up from defence. There was a goal in this, in the 7th minute of the first half. What about the pass inside, which made it all possible? A brilliant run by the wing-back, and he belted it past O'Keefe. What a time to score in Croke Park. The replay of the All-Ireland football final. Declan Meehan making himself a hero for Galway. They've got their first score, they've also got the lead, and it's back with Tommy Joyce this time, towards Derek Savage. He had moved out of the space there to leave a gap for the wing-back to come through and exploit. He did it superbly. Here comes Moynihan. A play-anywhere player. Great positioning taken up once again by Johnny Crowley. He was in on the blind side of the back that time, and there was very little indeed that Richie Fahey could do about it, but he's going to have his number ticked for that, I think.
There's some terrific football being played here today, Joe, by both sides. When I saw Porrick charge out 50 yards from goal, I was saying, what in the name of God is he doing out there? But he created space inside, drew Seamus Moynihan out and flicked it over the top, and they finished it so well.
This is the face of Dara O'Kineda. The end product of that attack, a point from the free. First pointed free in the match. It's a tight game, 8 minutes are gone, and it's Galway 1 goal, Kerry 2 points. So Galway winning by just a point. This goal is worth looking at again, I think, because if you're from Galway, you'll see the run here of the wing-back, Declan Meehan, and he pops it into the back of the empty net. The goalie at the other end, of course, Martin McNamara, getting the game underway once again. Again, they target Kevin Walsh. He's a handful at midfield, but he can't catch it. He's only tapping the ball down, and Kerry have anticipated that, and they're winning the breaking ball. They've also got themselves a free for the holding foul on Aidan McGarrett. Driven in once more. Down towards Mike Frank Russell. Wrestled to the ground. Spills out once again. John Divilly is there. Back out towards Kevin Walsh. They're giving it away. Another mistake made. Kerry seizing on it. Comes back towards Donald Daly. And that wasn't really a very confident kick. He was trying to make sure it was accurate. He didn't give it the power. Never gave it the elevation. And an easy one for Martin McNamara to take. McCarthy's back out there. This time it breaks away from Tom O'Sullivan. Nicely lobbed ahead there by Noel Kennelly, youngest player on the field today. He's only 20, the number 12 for Kerry. High up into the air there by Liam Hassett. Dropping down dangerously. Daly's in after it again. Not a noted scorer. Comes out to Johnny Crowley, who is, and he's put it wide. That's a second wide. The two managers up and down the field surveying what they're seeing in front of them, cursing their luck, I'm sure, on occasions when mistakes are made. But we've seen some very good football as well. Well, Galway haven't scored too many goals in this championship so far. They did score one against New York, I seem to remember. This is between Walsh and Daly. This time he catches it. Third time of asking, he gets on the ball, gets possession. Looking for O'Donnell straight away. It's O'Donnell against Dara O'Shea. That's the marking alignment. Divilly. Daly was standing far too far away from Walsh. Beyond Porrick Joyce, he looks at the referee, says, I was being held by Seamus Moynihan. The referee wasn't interested. Two Kerry players going for this ball. Daly taking it down into his chest, needing the assistance of Dara O'Shea. Shoulder coming in there from Neil Finnegan. They get it back, however, as far as Liam Hassett. O'Shea, very close passing here, not making a lot of headway. Coming out of defence is Mike Hassett. Now they've got a bit of a break. A gap in front of them. They dish it off there towards Mark Yarrold. And once again his shooting is leading him down. He's had about 3 chances at this stage.
Yeah, one into the goalie's hands and one just wide. There was loose men inside in the full forward line, especially Johnny Crowley's making himself available in there the whole time. But one very interesting aspect from all the kickouts, they're nearly hitting Kevin Walsh on top of the head, and he's winning all those kickouts.
Martin McNamara is a particularly good kicker of the ball from the place ball. Well, just to update you on the Galway goals so far, it's their 3rd of the campaign. They scored against Leitrim as well, of course. A savage penalty that day. That's O'Donnell. Declan Meehan. Oof. Tom O'Sullivan was on the ground, so too was Michael Donnellan. Galway will get the decision. It's going to be their free. Donnellan preparing to take it. Going short towards Porrick Joyce. It's a well-known tactic. He gets away from the defender inside, who happens to be Seamus Moynihan. Holding it up because he's a player with great confidence on the ball. Finnegan won't be able to keep this one in. And Porrick Joyce acknowledges that it was his passing error. Not a lot that the solicitor from Dublin could do. Well, now, they're interested in football down in Tipperary as well. Ken Hogan, of course, former goalkeeper, selector as well. Enjoying the match on that Little Mineral as well. And Kerry can't win their own kick out here. Instead, it's won back by Tommy Joyce. Played inside towards Savage. Falling on top of him there was Mick McCarthy. And it's going to be a free in. Foul is by Mike Hassett. So a free in for Galway. It should be their 2nd score. It'll be Neil Finnegan who will take this one. It favours the player kicking with the right foot. And it'll be just about 21 metres out. So Galway looking for their 2nd score, their first point of the match. This to put 2 points between the teams. And we saw in the drawn match almost a fortnight ago how every scoring opportunity was so important. There's Kevin Walsh there getting some attention from Dr. Jarlath Dignan. Caught well by Finnegan, and he puts it over the bar. His first point of the match, Galway's first, of course, as well. And Galway lead in this game by 2 points. Just a little under 14 minutes gone, and it's Galway 1-1, Kerry 2 points.
Galway will be very happy with their attitude the way they started. The last time I saw them with this attitude was against Sligo when they played up in Markievicz Park this year. The last day when they played, they looked so lackadaisical at the start of the game, but they're making up for today.
Yes, it was 8 points to 1 after about a half an hour in favour of Kerry, who made that blitz of a start. This is Dara O'Shea to his midfield ally, Daly. Knocked in towards Dara O'Kinade. He lets it run away, however, and Gary Fahy gets back on it. Now Michael Donlan. He goes so far back into his own defence sometimes to gain possession, but he's got a terrific engine, and there's a bit of holding. This time the player who's been held is Mike Hassett, and that's going to be a free to Galway. Or free to Kerry, I beg your pardon. Here's Aidan McGarrett. Noel Kennelly. Mike Frank Russell just letting that ball slip away. He hasn't received any decent service so far. Divilly is pushed. And this time a definite free out. Free to Galway. Noel Kennelly picked at full forward in this match, but he's playing in the half-forward line. And the man he's marking is taking this free kick. Big leap in the air by Tomás O'Shea, but it drops down once again to Galway's Neil Finnegan. Hand passed inside towards Paul Clancy. Clancy operating in the half-forward line, holding that ball up there. Eamon Fitzmaurice is his marker. Driven in, but straight into the waiting arms of Declan O'Keefe. Darragh O'Shea back there to keep it away from Derek Savage. Taking it back from Seamus Moynihan. Inside here to Donald Daly. A lot of short passing. In the end, they go for the long punt in there by Noel Kennelly. Into Mike Frank Russell. Awkward angle for it. He's got Richie Fahy there for company. Trying to get in along the end line. Mike Frank steadying himself. He's a marvellous footballer. He had to really work that one in. He's clever, he's decisive, he's so talented, and he never panics. And his scoring rate is so impressive. That is a wonderful score there by Mike Frank Russell, and that's 2 goals and 15 points he's now scored in this year's championship. So a 3rd point for Kerry, 1 between them.
That was a terrifically worked point by Kerry. Michael Frank made space by moving in field, quick ball into the corner, and I don't blame Richie Fahy one bit. All he can do is shadow him and put him under pressure, and he did that, but that was a terrific score.
This kick out by Martin McNamara. Well, Paul Clancy has just been told to move into midfield, I gather, by John O'Mahony on the far side. So let's see how this will work out. And in the background there, they've also got the opportunity to bring in Joe Bergen if they need it, and they are bringing him in. So Joe Bergen is into the match after just about 17 minutes of play. And let's see who's making way. It is Kevin Walsh who's going off, little limp there. So he's gone, and they've lost an influential midfielder at a very early stage. This is very curious.
That's always the problem with Kevin. He is injury prone, and that psychologically is a big blow to Galway. I know Joe Bergen will try his best, but he really cannot have the same influence as Kevin Walsh.
Well, he's in, and that ball is in as well, and it's over the bar. Darragh O'Kineda, his 2nd point. 2 kicks, 2 frees, 2 points, and it's Kerry 4, Galway 1-1, and the teams are level for the first time. So they just managed to get 17 minutes out of Kevin Walsh, and we now have a totally changed situation at midfield. And the Galway fans are now, I think, probably saying to themselves, well, we've lost one of our big trump cards who we could have brought in had we kept him in reserve on the sideline as they did in the first match. Liam Hassett has gone into full forward in a switch of the Kerry team. He's been marked by Gary Fahy, of course. Darragh O'Kineda has come back out onto the 40. Now the target man in there will be Sean O'Donnell, perhaps. Joe Bergen, just 19 years of age. He now becomes the youngest player playing in this All-Ireland final. Here's Pauric Joyce. Takes a little tumble. Worked outside here towards Michael Donovan. This is one man they really have to look to, and that is why. What a superb point by Michael Donovan. Didn't score, of course, in the draw match. His confidence will be high just now, and that was a marvellous kick. It's something I suppose we routinely expect from our top Gaelic Games players, but that was a very big kick from a long distance out, true and accurate. So Donovan gets his first. Well, he's just the first member of the forwards to score a point from play, and it's 1-2 to 2 points. Galway shading it. They've got it back again. Sean O'Donnell feeding it outside here towards Declan Meehan. The wing-back who likes to come forward. Used to be a forward. Eildon McGarrett is back there appreciating the danger. And there is danger still here, and O'Keefe comes out, and going in was Tommy Joyce. It was very dangerous. It's going to be a 45. Declan O'Keefe is in there. This was when the ball was pumped in by Declan Meehan. Watch for Joyce coming in here, and it was a very close call indeed. The end result following that attack by Tommy Joyce, a free from 45 metres. Michael Donnellan, who walloped one in the semi-final. Really great kick that day from about this distance, though playing into the other goal. This time he's dropped it well to the left. At this level of the game, you expect to be taking a fair old proportion of those long-range frees.
They shouldn't really all counter. One significant point there is that the Kerry full back line looked decidedly unsteady when there's balls kicked in higher across the goal, and in fact the defender found himself on the wrong side of the attacker at that stage, and they were lucky they got away with it.
Well, the last day the questions were being asked about the Galway full back line. Now some searching questions about Kerry's rear guard. Dara O'Shea in towards Dara O'Kineda, chasing after that one. Putting in the boot was Liam Hassett. You can't do that as the player was in the act of trying to pick the ball up. Gary Fahy was the player involved. John Tivoli is the player who's taking the free kick. Down towards Derek Savage. McCarthy's there alongside him, the corner back for Kerry. They need to get this ball away. They're playing it pretty short, so everybody else has to be available for the passes. A lot of movement required. Eamon Fitzmaurice playing on that left-hand side. Belted into space, but there's an awful lot of space there, and Galway players are quick to appreciate that. Tivoli, indestructible. Gary Fahy, away to Sean O'Donnell. Dara O'Shea closing in on him. The pass not quite precise enough. Hit away by Eamon Fitzmaurice. Broken down there again to Sean O'Donnell. And again there's support play. Good backup work here by the Galway players. The player not getting a second. Out as far as John Tivoli. Second game that he started in this year's championship. Away they come with Declan Meehan. He's popping up everywhere. What a game he's playing. Bad pass, however, to Neil Finnegan. Mike Hassett instead. Back to Seamus Moynihan. The player who can settle things down at the back. Again, they go very tight indeed. Michael McCarthy. Away by Mike Hassett. Out to Tomas O'Shea. Dropped in there towards Johnny Crowley. That's very good work there by Tomas Meehan, just to claw the ball away, keep it away from the danger men inside. Mike Frank Russell planning to take this one. Looking at a certain number of options inside, plenty of movement. Ooh, not the cleverest ball he's ever kicked. 4 wides now for Kerry. John O'Keefe there, who will be back here in action tomorrow on the bench for Ireland. Jack O'Connor, Paddy O'Shea there as well, and of course the other selectors who include Eddie Tatler, O'Sullivan and Eamon Walsh. He can't be tired of the game at this stage. He must wake up. Only 23 minutes gone or thereabouts. Little bit of handball there, played by Eabon McGarrett, trying to set one up for Donald Daly. Needs to pick the ball up and get it inside. He fumbles. The ground is a bit heavy back at that particular part of Croke Park. They may not have got a favourable bounce. That's kicked away by Joe Bergen, but off a Kerry player, and it's going to be Galway's sideline ball. Michael Donlan way back there, taking the ball quickly inside. Tivoli. This is Neil Finnegan. Plenty of space inside. Porrick Joyce. Not quite taking on Seamus Moynihan. Not delivering the ball to precision as well. Instead it's Michael McCarthy. O'Shea noting the movement of Mike Hassett. Up to Liam Hassett. Dara O'Kineda next. Inside towards a 2-man inside forward line at this stage, and it's Crowley who wins, Crowley who gets it, Crowley who strikes, but he's put it wide. He very rarely misses them. He did all the hard work there, got on the ball, managed to turn, couldn't strike it on target.
Yeah, Kerry definitely have a distinct advantage there. But the Galway full forward, and I think John O'Mahony will be very happy with them. When they don't have the ball, they're working very hard, and their movement off the ball is terrific. It's fantastic to see Pádraig Joyce and Seamus Moynihan, the way they're counter-attacking and watching each other. It's a brilliant spectacle.
Just looking at Michael Donlan, he's gone over now towards centre forward once again, and the man who continues to follow him is Tom O'Sullivan, number 7 for Kerry. Kerry pressing. Here comes Liam Hassett. He has support alongside him there, needs it. Going down there is Dara O'Kineda. They keep it going here. Eamon Fitzmaurice trying to burst his way through. He's succeeded. the man who was picked at centre-half back, coming forward, kicking it. The umpires have a look at it, and they decided in the end that it did travel inside the left post. As they saw it, the right post as we're looking at it, and it's Kerry who are much the happier. Great point by Fitzmaurice, getting through that time to make it Kerry 5 points, Galway 1-2, and the teams are level now for the second time. This is where the man wearing the number 6, proudly for Kerry, came through and kicked a glorious point. It's difficult for the umpires back there because they haven't got an awful lot of space to get back behind the post to be absolutely certain in their minds that the ball did travel over. Good shoulder. Galway first time with Declan Meehan dropping it back down, but only straight as far as Mike Hassett. And Kerry can build again. Seamus Moynihan. Darragh O'Shea expecting Moynihan as usual to come forward, and there was a little push on the Kerry man coming through there, and it's going to be a free to the Kingdom. Darragh O'Kinneide anxious to take it. Lots and lots of movement. Frank Russell had made a diagonal run across. Paulie O'Shea onto his feet once again. O'Kinneide is waiting. The referee is having a little word there, as you can see, with Liam Hassett and John Dively. Message is absolutely clear. No more nonsense, fellas. Maurice Fitzgerald has been warmed up on the far side as that ball is kicked in. It's fisted, and it's fisted over the bar. And the man who's got it, I think, there is Eardon McGarrett. He got the last touch. It was the number 10, I think, who managed to fist it over. Watch this once again, just to clear it up in our minds. Darragh O'Kinneide coming in, and the man fisting it up and over there was quite clearly Eardon McGarrett.
Yes, and Kerry are so dangerous when they play direct ball in there.
Early stages, and is he about to come in? Maurice Fitzgerald will be coming in for his 39th championship match. Of course, nowadays in this modern game where you can use 5 substitutes, gives you a little bit more room. That's a head by Daly. Darragh O'Kinneide dropping dangerously in. The goalkeeper comes out, he's left it there. Kerry at the chance, and they put it over the bar. But they had a glorious opportunity there through Liam Hassett. He's got himself a point. It could have been a bigger score. It's 7 points to 1-2. Kerry lead, and Maurice Fitzgerald has come into the match, and the man who's going off is Noel Kennelly. This was that great moment there, just seconds ago, falling to Liam Hassett. A point and not a goal, however. So, number 12 for Kerry has gone, and Maurice Fitzgerald has come into the match. A man who scored a total of 12 goals and 196 points, or put into points, 232 points in a career, a marvellous career. Has Paddy brought him in a little bit too soon? Then again, have they lost the game, or if they do go on to lose the game, people will be asking, why wasn't he in from the beginning? He's got into full forward, marked by Gary Fahy of Galway. So there you are, that's the substitution, a key one.
It's nice to have the luxury to be able to bring him on, Ger. I have no doubt he'll rotate between centre forward and full forward, but all those scores he got, most of them were pure class.
What a catch by Seamus Moynihan, pondering forward. Player of the year for many, many people. Frank Russell drops it down. Dively comes. You know, when they had a crisis at full back due to a misfortunate injury, they were able to bring this man who can play almost anywhere. He's the kind of fellow who could win an All-Star playing in goal, you know. That's won by Paul Clancy. Some holding in there. Savage is going in after it, so too is Mike McCarthy. Savage waiting for support. It comes in the figure of Joe Bergen. Dodging away from Donald Daly. That's a great kick. This is a great young talent. Good to see him get his chance. He was so disappointed to have been substituted in the opening match so early. That was the drawn game. This the replay, and he's got a great point. And this is the situation with 29, almost 30 minutes gone. Kerry 7 points, Galway 1-3. Kerry just shading it. Once again, it was Bergen coming through, showing remarkable composure, great confidence for such a young man. Daly leaping in the air, fisted down, however, by Bergen. Back in by Liam Hassett towards Mike Frank Russell. He's been very tightly marked by Richie Fahy, and Richie Fahy doing a pretty good job on him so far. Moynihan once again, great catch. He drops it, as I say, at Paul Clancy in to snap it up for Galway. Bad pass by Clancy. Kerry get it back again. These errors very costly because the opposition now have the opportunity to take it forward and set up a scoring chance of their own. Hassett, great block. Galway make amends. And it's Declan Meehan who gets in for that one there. Kicked in by Dara O'Shea. Beyond John Dibbley, fisted out, however, by Fahy. That was Gary Fahy who got that away. Let's look at this once again here. That was a marvellous block by Declan Meehan. He's having quite a match. This is taken by Dara O'Kinade, and he can't curl it in sufficiently. 6 wides now for Kerry in this game. They still lead by just a point. Let's have a look at this wonderful fielding by Seamus Moynihan just moments ago there, taking it away from Paul Clancy, and away he went.
He is some footballer, Gerard, and it's a shame that we can't see him in his best position, which would be out around the half-back midfield area, because he could impose himself more in the game. He's totally dictated by the ball that's kicked in there.
Well, it's very sad that Barry O'Shea wasn't able to play in the championship because of a serious leg injury, and that's touched on the ground, the referee has decided.
I think he's unlucky there, Gerard, because the ball was actually bouncing when he caught it.
And for protesting, the referee is bringing the ball forward an extra 13 metres, which is the penalty. This runs inside here towards Paul Clancy, doing a quick little solo, trying to get it away from Moynihan onto his right boot, but he's put it badly wide. That is a bad miss. 3 wides for Galway. Well, he had the opportunity there to have pointed that one. What a fantastic setting this is on a very still afternoon. Overhead it's quite cloudy, but thankfully no rain.
Galway certainly lose out by bringing Padraig Joyce out to centre forward. If he was the fulcrum of their attack in there and he was at the end of that, he would have scored.
Because they're not getting enough from their half forward line anyway. That is Dara O'Shea. Inside towards Maurice Fitzgerald. Dibbley, he took a fair old belt of that one. The idea was to try and kick it away from danger. And there is the physio there, Aoife Brannock, Aoife Walsh. She says to me, you can call me Eva if you want to. So it's a knee problem that Kevin Walsh has got, and he really has had his difficulties over the years. Dr. Jarlath Dignan there alongside the team doctor for the footballers. So it's going to be a 45-metre kick following that boot away by John Dibbley, which failed to reach its desired target. Dara O'Kinade from Unwelcome. 2 points from free so far in this match. Okay, so it's a 45, but it's a great deal farther out because of the angle. Dara O'Shea making it a bit better for him. Coming. Dropping it hopefully, but going towards the right. Now can they keep the ball in play? They managed to do so. That's very good work back there. Sean O'Donnell. Sean O'Donnell on Geru Rua. Down towards Clancy. He fists it on this time, not giving Moynihan any chance to catch. Back out it spills towards Neil Finnegan. Dropped ahead to Clancy, expecting Michael Donlan to come through. Not a good ball, bad pass by Donlan, and it's Moynihan instead for Kerry. And Maurice Fitzgerald has come well away from full forward, as anticipated here by Tony Davies. He's come out around the 40 once again. Mike Frank Russell's on the ground, fouled by Richie Fahy, free into the kingdom. Knocked into Johnny Crowley. Well, he's missed one, he's scored one. Tomas Meehan is there, there's dragging and all the rest of it, and that's got to be a free from 13 metres. Tomas Meehan can explain it all away. But the referee, Brian White from Wexford, has decided it's a free from that 30-metre line. He's a danger, Johnny Crowley.
Yes, he's physically very, very strong, and he's too strong for Tomas Meehan. Darragh O'Shea so far has tried the impossible 4 or 5 times in this game. At times I feel he just doesn't take the percentage shot and play the simple ball.
It's another point for Kerry. Darragh O'Kineda has kicked 3 points. 35 minutes gone. We're into injury time, and Kerry lead in this match by 2 points. Galway with just 4 scores in the first half, but crucially, one of those was a goal. After 7 minutes, it was their first score, scored by the wing-back Declan Meehan. It's the only goal of the game so far, and there's been some pretty good football, some sloppy stuff as well, but it's a huge occasion for both players, both sets of players. Joe Bergen has come in for Kevin Walsh during that first half. He's only 19 years of age, matching the number on his back, and at half-time here at Croke Park in the replay of the Bank of Ireland football final, it's Kerry 8 points, Galway 1-3. Let's go down to Marty Morrissey.
Well, Pete, after scoring what possibly will be the goal of the year, you're still down at half-time.
Yeah, we're still down. We got a good start. You know, the goal, good get a goal too early, but we're still in the game. There's only 2 points in it, and you know, we've everything to play for in the second half. We haven't done extremely well, but you know, we've a lot tougher as we did in the drawn match. So hopefully in the second half we'll up the performance.
A key factor is the fact that your forwards are working so hard, almost like defenders.
They're working very hard, you know, and you know, we've still got to win a bit of ball at midfield and start getting the ball quicker to the forwards. The forwards are coming back a bit too deep, so we want to get it forward as quick as possible and keep the forwards up there.
Joe Bergen has done well for Kevin Welch.
Yeah, Joe Bergen done very well. Delighted for him, like, you know, and you know, let's hope he has a good second half.
Pete Warren, thank you very much.
Thanks, Bertie.
Galway are 2 points behind. Kerry have the advantage as they had in the drawn match, but we know what happened there. Analysis after the break.
Still think the game lacks the sort of intensity that you normally associate with an All-Ireland final. Galway are in trouble in the middle of the third of the pitch. Kerry have most of the best players in that first half. You would expect Galway are going to come out fighting because they have whatever wind advantage is there. But Kerry seem to have the better players
It's
and the
interesting,
better
Colin,
method.
that Galway haven't come out at all yet, so they're taking the full length of time, as they did the last day as well. So obviously things to talk about.
A lot of things to talk about. Kerry's method of play is good. They're actually kicking the ball an awful lot more, and they don't mind kicking it in high into that full forward line because they're winning it in the air and winning a lot of the break. So still I stick with Kerry. They haven't got the goal. The goal went on the wrong way, but
Actually, I agree with Colin. It's lacking a little bit of atmosphere normally associated with it as an All-Ireland.
Could be an awful lot of it before this match ends.
well, a couple of goals now would do something for the atmosphere.
Let's go back again to Ger Canning as we look at Maurice Fitzgerald. He'll be hoping to make an impact in this second half.
And he's gone into full forward once again. Gary Fahy is picking him up. No changes that are apparent as the teams come out for the start of the second half. Galway with 9 scoring chances in the opening 35 minutes. Kerry had 17, indicating their dominance. Brian White then getting the match underway once again if you've come in late. 2 points between the teams. It's Kerry who lead. They have the wind at their backs for the second half. It may have dropped a little bit in its intensity as Galway try to get that ball away there with Tomas Meehan leaving that one behind. Out it comes towards Liam Hassett. And Hassett kicks it beautifully. Great start to the second half. That's his second point. Great point indeed by the number 14, who is now operating at left half forward. Here he is dodging around. Declan Meehan's his marker. And it's interesting that 2 Galway wing-backs like to go forward every time. It leaves a gap for fellows like Liam Hassett to exploit. Martin McNamara down the centre towards Sean O'Donnell. This time the breaking ball is picked up by John Dibley. And he was swung down, but I suppose the basic point, Tony, is that Galway simply have to win at midfield, and I suppose in a way also they have to consider bringing Porrick Joyce in towards full forward. Here he is, taking the free right now.
He should really where the ball is now. That's where he should be, at the other end of it, so that he can just get it and get a point straight away.
Savage Deanthrin pulling back the jersey of the Kerry man. He gets the lecture from the match referee. Kerry get it back again. It's going to be Galway's ball. Chances are he might come back in, we hear, having had the treatment. They can use 5 substitute moves, as it were. John Divilly. Seamus Moynihan under this one, another fine catch. Told me there's absolutely no way that he'll be playing tomorrow afternoon for Ireland. Win or lose, and if he wins he'll be bringing the cup back to County Kerry. Meanwhile, Joe Bergen has other ideas. Got a great point in the first half. He's looking for another one. This is going to the left, and it's an easy one for Declan O'Keefe. No trouble there. 4 wides for Galway. Kerry making the better start to the second half, just as they did in the first, and John O'Mahony having his problems. Just 4 scores in the game so far. Fortunately, from their point of view, one of them being a wonder goal by Declan Meehan after 7 minutes. Goalkeeper taking the opportunity to take it outside the small rectangle. Technically shouldn't do so. This is one back here. Tomas O'Shea. Liam Hassett. Down towards Johnny Crowley. Breaks down. Elbon McGarrett coming forward on the left boot. And that one waved wide by the umpire back there. They're still getting those vital little breaks, however, Kerry. And they're in with a lot of shots. McNamara goes short this time to Richie Fahy, who's done a decent job on Mike Frank Russell. This is Sean O'Donnell. Kevin Walsh, I think, is still being prepared, and who knows, he could be back in this game. Liam Hassett, meanwhile, for Kerry. Had support, doesn't use that support. O'Sullivan was available. Down towards Crowley instead. Maurice Fitzgerald lets it run away. John Divilly snapping it up. So good at gathering the loose ball. Always anticipating and playing a good pass inside here. Michael Donnellan charging away. Tom O'Sullivan's after him. Donnellan kicking it with the left boot, and he's kicked it over the bar. A wonderful point for Michael Donnellan, his second. It's lit up the stadium. It's enlivened the Galway fans, and they feel they're back into it again. It's just their 5th score of the game, but they're within 2 points of Kerry, and this is the reason why. This marvellous athlete can kick with the right. This time it's hit with the left. Brilliant accuracy. Great score.
A terrific scoring board, Ger, but very, very poor defending. Who is left on his own in there, and the one guy you don't leave on his own is Michael Donnellan.
Well, Michael Donnellan and Pádraig Joyce, 11 and 12 on the team. They're the ones, I think, if Galway are to get back into it, to win this All-Ireland, they're the 2 who really will be shining. Darragh O'Kinneide, partial block on that one. Inside towards Mike Frank Russell. Comes out towards Johnny Crowley. Taken up by Maurice Fitzgerald. 3 Galway men around him. They appreciate his danger. It leaves gaps elsewhere, however. And Johnny Crowley has the opportunity to swing the right boot at this one. And he might have put it over the bar, but didn't. The challenge was coming in from Tomas Meehan, but Crowley still had enough time for Paulie O'Shea's team. Managers considering their options. Key time in the game just now. That was Johnny Crowley's 3rd wide, by the way. And we think that Galway might be considering bringing in John Donnellan. Not the fastest player around, but he can kick scores. That's what they need right now, but they need possession, and they're not getting it. It's been taken away from them by Donald Daly in midfield, and Daly has gone through and he's kicked it wide. 2 bad misses now in the last minute and a half or so, and that is a total of 9 wides in all. This was the catch here, taken by Daly. Couldn't finish, however. Could be very costly before the end of the 70 minutes. So early stages in this second half. Around about 64,000 people, it seems, here at Croke Park this afternoon. This ball broken once again, and it's all Kerry in midfield just now. And Michael Donnellan's back there, doing an awful lot of hard work, starting out on his own full back line, linking up with Sean the player, and Sean Old on the solo burst. Coming up to assist him is Declan Meehan. Lobbed inside there towards Paul Clancy. He lets it spill down. Needs support, doesn't get it. Instead it's Darragh O'Shea. And Kerry set away again, but that's a bad pass by O'Shea, intended for Maurice Fitzgerald, taken away by Gary Fahy. And now it is the goal scorer, Declan Meehan. Inside towards Paul Clancy once again. Going back there is Liam Hassett. Can't prevent this Galway movement developing, however. And it's Meehan once again. Will he go for another score? He used to be a forward, now playing at wing back. Players calling for it. Pádraig Joyce is team captain. We haven't seen the best of him so far in this match. And that one is dropped short, and it's an easy one for Declan O'Keefe to take. And away it goes to Airdón McGarrett. Missed opportunities at both ends. Over the head of Dupire. Johnny Crowley lets it slip. Still struggling to get that ball off. Galway managed to get it back. Sean O'Donnell outside for Declan Meehan. The game picking up as we go along. Mike Hassett out to that one first. Neil Finnegan, however, has the opportunity. Right on the end line. Not too many opportunities for a score there, but he belts it in. Wise tactic, but Kerry are there, and Seamus Moynihan, what a performance. The man who can play anywhere. And that's Tom O'Sullivan. He fouls the man, and the referee says play on to Galway, so they have the advantage. This is Joe Bergen, fed back once again here to Michael Donlan. They're keeping him away from goal. Kicked in there towards Clancy. Moynihan drops it down. This time it's Clancy once again, wearing the number 14 for Galway. There's assistance there, and that's put over the bar. Great point. Tommy Joyce, the one who gets his first point here. 43 minutes got in the match. And now it's Kerry 9 points, Galway 1-5. Kerry lead by just a point. This was Paul Clancy again. He had a number of players coming in support, and Tommy Joyce was one of them, and he took the score brilliantly.
Galway really worked hard for that. Everyone's showing off the ball and moving into good positions, and it's really picked up now, and the tempo of the game is picked up, and it means that there's space in front of the goals, and there might be a goal scoring opportunity.
A little bit of drizzle still here at Croke Park this afternoon. Galway have a player down injured, and that is Pádraig Joyce, their very influential team captain, still playing out around the 40. The problem is getting that ball into the forwards. The medical people come in straight away to attend to the captain. Well, this is what happened just moments ago there, and it was Darragh O'Shea, and Joyce got it into the arm. Also down there you see Sean O'Donnell getting some attention from Efoyne Walsh.
The one player Galway don't want to get injured is Pádraig Joyce. I see John Donlan warming up on the sideline, and Kevin Walsh. I'm sure if John Donlan came in at full forward, it might make them just kick the ball just a little bit more direct into the full forward line and let the players like Pádraig Joyce play off him. It would be a huge risk for them to bring in Kevin Walsh after going off injured.
They may be considering it. You saw Pete Warren there having a little word with him. Meanwhile, here's Daly for Kerry. There's a big gap. Hassett kicking. That's a very poor final effort by Liam Hassett. A gap opened up there. He had plenty of space. He could have taken it on an extra 5 metres. Bad wide. Well, the coaches at this stage, I'm sure, are looking at their subs bench and seeing just what options are available to them realistically. No better or shrewder coach than John O'Mahony. McNamara's kick dropped into midfield towards O'Donnell, but once again Kerry get out with that ball. Dively tries to pick it up off the ground. Darragh O'Kinneide has possession, and this time the referee says you're charged with that. Held on too long in any case, and it's a free to Galway. Dively kicking up towards Savage. McCarthy takes it down. He's a decent corner back, Michael McCarthy. This Pádraig Joyce recovered. Tomás O'Shea putting in a kind of a half-hearted shoulder. Joyce getting it onto the left and scoring a wonderful point. Pádraig Joyce has just got his first point in the match. And the teams are level for the third time. Galway are very much back in business here, going 6 to 9 points for Kerry. Well, look at the challenge here for Tomás O'Shea, beaten for pace initially, then a kind of a shoulder that wasn't effective, but Joyce's kick really was.
A terrific score by Pádraig Joyce. He did everything well. ran across his player, so it gave him the option of either fouling him or leaving him have a shot, and he took a great score in the end of the day.
We could be in for a marvellous second half here. Let's hope so. Meehan didn't try to pick it up that time. Waiting for support from Savage. Meehan advances, however. He's still there. Hassett has tracked back to try and get goal side of him. Declan Meehan still. The ball required inside. Opportunities here perhaps for Paul Clancy. No, closed down by Kerry backs. Back out it comes once again to Tommy Joyce. And that final kick not really troubling Declan O'Keefe. And he can restart the movement. Oh dear. They were fortunate to get that ball away. Should have been kicked away by a Galway player in the end. Eddie McGarrett couldn't take the pass. Dibley feeding inside. A huge one inside there by Michael Donnellan. Two men inside to target. One of them is Savage. Derek Savage blocked down. McCarthy doing well. Still in play. Seamus Moynihan here. Just three Kerry players back there now, so they can start this movement all over again. It's the way Gaelic football, I suppose, has changed over the years. Very much a possession game. Dibley. Players coming to make the pass an easier one for him, like Sean O'Dwyer. Clancy having the unenviable job of trying to beat Seamus Moynihan. He does well this time. The player has kept going forward. Eddie McGarrett, his marker, trying to close down the space. It's, oh yes, it's not over the bar. Sean O'Dwyer needed the post to get it over, but he's done exactly that. And Galway now lead in this match by a point. They've taken the lead 48 minutes into the match, off the upright, and it bounces kindly from a Galway point of view. The Connacht champions are in front. It's the first point for Sean O'Dwyer. Missed an opportunity in the draw match 2 weeks ago. He's taken his opportunity brilliantly here. And Galway are now winning the battle around midfield. Here's Joe Bergen. They still have those options of bringing in the substitutes that they wish. That's blocked down there, Tommy Joyce's shot. The sting was taken out of it. And Kerry will take it back once more to Seamus Moynihan. Mike Hassett's there. Not a good ball, he's fumbled it. But this time the boot was going in as the player was trying to pick the ball up. Not allowed. Neil Finnegan, the one who's indicted. And that is Mike Hassett there, down injured. Was the captain, of course. Heading into the concluding stages of the triumphant 1997 campaign, but of course he sat out the final.
Galway's two most dangerous attackers today, see, fully enough, are their two wing backs, Declan Meehan and Sean O'Dwyer. They're driving forward from the back and they're taking the scores very, very well.
It's quite an irony. That's touched down by Sean O'Donnell, only as far as the wing back for Kerry here. Tomas O'Shea. Nicely on for Eddie McGarrett outside of the Moody kicks, and he has put it wide, and they have missed far too many chances in the second half. Groans from the Kerry fans. That's 5 in a row missed now by Kerry. It's a very bad miss. Here he comes, outside of the boot, and normally he would float that one over, but it's a very nervous occasion for a young player. He'd kick those over in his sleep, I'm sure, normally. McNamara getting good height to it, but Kerry anticipate, and it's McGarrett who shrugs aside the disappointment of missing that last one. Hassett kicked inside there, bounces away from Frank Russell, but they're anticipating. Maurice Fitzgerald getting it back, and that one has gone wide once again. Darragh O'Shea having to encourage the other players, I think basically telling them, let's stay focused on this one.
Yes, they're creating the opportunities, but they're just not taking them.
This was a great block down just moments ago there by Michael McCarthy.
They'll just have to find the likes of Darragh O'Neill, Michael Frank Russell and Johnny Crowley in the full forward line earlier. Really, midfielders know that percentages that they're going to miss in front of the goal, where the forwards, the corner forwards in particular, will take that score.
They're still getting possession. Maurice Fitzgerald, can he be their match winner? O'Kinade back outside here towards Johnny Crowley. Players calling for it. Back it comes towards Darragh O'Kinade once again. Onto the right boot. You feel they've lost a bit of confidence in their shooting. That's about 7 shots in a row now that have failed to yield a score in front of the Galway goal. That was very tamely hit. but they have it back. Mike Frank Russell gets it back to Darragh Kinneida. Comes back once again. And the final shot this time is on target, and it's over the bar by Aidan McGarrett. It's his second point. The faces say it all, really. Great encouragement for the players from both teams, and the sides are level. Fourth time they've been level in this match. It's quite a contest. They have to funnel it back there. They find the free man. He happens to be their number 10, McGarrett, and at last they get a point.
That took guts by Aidan McGarrett. He's after missing 2 already, and on his left leg and straight over the bar. That's a good sign of a player.
Absolutely. It's quite a contest. Martin McNamara, this time going left. Fisted down, however. Kerry get it back. Mike Frank Russell. Good ball inside towards McGarrett. Expecting support to come. It comes in the figure of Tomás O'Shea, the wing back. Swallowed up there. Porrick Joyce, the team captain, way back on his own 40-metre line. Not exactly the area of the field you think where he's going to be able to win the match for his team. Both sides having to keep their discipline and their shape. And there's still over 17 minutes to go. Darragh Kinneida, 3 points from frees, 3 taken as well so far. So his record has been exemplary. From about 35 metres out, he's pointed another one. Good composure by Darragh Kinneida, great accuracy, great confidence as well. Those kicks have been vital. And the lead has changed hands on 4 occasions. And who's coming back in? Kevin Walsh. This is the cheer. Well, where are they going to locate him? They've got Bergen and they've got O'Donnell in midfield. O'Donnell thinks that he's the one who's going off. He may well be right, he is. Sean O'Donnell has been taken off the Galway team. Kevin Walsh has come back in. Now, you said a little while ago it would be silly to bring back on a player who has already been substituted because of an injury. This is another gamble, isn't it?
I think it's a huge risk bringing him in their midfield. He must have been bad to go off, but it just shows the kind of trouble they are in the middle of the field there now at this stage by bringing him on. But if he gets injured again and goes off, it's a huge loss to them again.
Here comes the fire once again. The pass by Joyce. He's looking for a second point. Back to Porrick Joyce once again. They play hold ball. Neil Finnegan going for the long one. Good save again by Declan O'Keefe, but he was well positioned for a player and goalkeeper of his class. That wasn't a particularly difficult save to make. Here's Eamon Fitzmaurice from Canoe. Always has support. Maurice Fitzgerald available. He's drifted out around midfield. Broken down there by Richie Fahy. Mike Frank Russell keeping it on the deck. Played ahead by McGarrett. Good opening here. Darragh Kinneida has support, doesn't need it. Going right through the Galway defence. Laying it offside towards Johnny Crowley. Crowley taking on the responsibility to kick and to score. Johnny Crowley has got another point. 1 in each half now. Kerry fans enjoying it. It's a hugely enjoyable occasion. Kerry, as you can see, have a lead here of 2 points. And this is the reason why Darragh Kinneida, foraging, working really hard, needed a player in support, one man to take on the responsibility, and that was Johnny Crowley.
It looks like they're a lot more relaxed now. They're flicking the ball around again. I think Aidan McGarrett's point looks like it's going to be a significant point for them.
If anything, it seems that Galway are the ones who are experiencing the crisis. Kerry had their dull moments with those 7 misses in a row. Kicked in by Darragh O'Shea, in tight towards Johnny Crowley. Spills away from him. Richie Fahy, the one in the number 4 shirt. Divilly available. Nobody ever seems to close down John Divilly. He picks up an amazing amount of ball. Not terribly well directed, but in the end it is the number 6, Eamon Fitzmaurice, who tips it away out over the sideline. Possession for Kerry, and there you are. It's a thigh injury, we understand there, troubling Sean O'Donnell. So they've had their difficulties with injuries. A lovely pick up by Tommy Joyce. Now, bursting forward, Kevin Walsh. Can he lift Galway spirits? They need a score. He can get it, and he does. Kevin Walsh. It's a big, big move to bring him back in. It's a move that could backfire. It could also work, and Galway are within a point of Kerry. 14 minutes remain in this All-Ireland final replay. And this was Kevin Walsh at his very best in a scoring capacity. What a series of games we've had here. 14-all just 2 weeks ago. And some wonderful football. Memorable moments again here in the replay. Fisted down by Joe Bergen for Galway. Kicked away by Fitzmaurice. But picked up once again by Declan Meehan. Good pass ahead to Pádraig Joyce. Meehan's making an overlap. Available for Joyce. Here he comes, the little number 5. Good ball inside. Finnegan kicking. And he has put that one wide, and the umpires were well positioned, and that is a very bad miss at this time of the game, and he will be the first to realise it. That's 5 wides now for Galway. What can the manager do in terms of plotting victory? The managers simply have to be living on their nerves, same as the fans here, on what is a hugely enjoyable occasion. O'Keefe's kick out, straight down towards Donald Daly. And Darrow, Maurice Fitzgerald, in fact, who goes to field on for Liam Hassett. Good break here by Kerry. They should be able to finish with a score, and indeed they are. A 3rd point for Liam Hassett. It came from a kick out, from Maurice Fitzgerald's intervention, and from Hassett's accuracy in front of the post. A very direct move, and the Kerry fans absolutely thrilled by that. They lead by 13 points to 1-8. They're ahead by 2. 12 minutes remaining in the All-Ireland final replay. Michael Donovan foraging over there about the left half-back position. And the referee has spotted a foul, and it's going to be a free, I think, from where the ball lands. Well, it'll be around the 13-metre line at this stage, as it ended up going out over the far line. It's a jersey tug. Referee has spotted it. So a very good position for Galway to take this scoring chance and get back to within 1 point of the kingdom.
And it's significant that Pádraig Joyce is back in full forward again. Now they have their strongest setup. They have Kevin Walsh at midfield, Pádraig Joyce in full forward, and he will draw fouls.
Neil Finnegan to kick this one. He's got to put this one over. It was a pressure kick. He's got it right. He's the scorer of 2 points from frees, both coming from that left-hand side of the pitch, hit him with the right. And this is the position. Galway trail by just 1 point. So now who's going to take it? This was that last Kerry point here. So effective, beautifully executed, and finished off by Liam Hassett. Galway with 8 All-Ireland wins, Kerry with 31. This is won back here by Paul Clancy, foraging around midfield, and the ball, he holds on too long. He's absolutely disgusted with that judgment. Kerry take the free. Maurice Fitzgerald floating it in there in the direction of Mike Frank Russell and Darragh O'Kinneide. And O'Kinneide just couldn't keep the ball in play.
Gary Fahy has done very, very well in there. No matter who went in and marked him, he was never ever shown up, and he's shown up to be a very, very good footballer over the last 2 games.
Very intelligent player, Gary Fahy. He's a chemical engineer by profession, today playing in his 29th championship match. The positioning of this kick-out is going to be important. Galway hoping to win their own kick-outs, but Maurice Fitzgerald is hugely influential. He's got it again. He set up that point for Hassett. This time fancying his chances, and that one is swung over the bar. Maurice Fitzgerald with his first point in the All-Ireland final replay. And that's now a goal and 4 points in this year's championship, where he's coming off the bench each time. Good solo, player who can use both feet so terribly well. And that was beautifully struck by Maurice Fitzgerald. This time, change of direction by the goalkeeper, but the wing-back wasn't quite on the same wavelength. In fact, it was Michael Donnelly who was hoping to target. Kerry have it back. They have a lead of 2 points. Challenging Position there for Gary Fahy, does just enough to flick it back towards his goalkeeper and break it away from Dara O'Kinada. Taken away here by Sean O'Dwyer. Kevin Walsh once again at midfield. He's dragged around a bit by Dara O'Shea. Referee not taking the option of giving Galway a 13-metre advantage. He is now. So he's kicking from 65 metres out from that Kerry goal. Great catch by Michael McCarthy. Great fielding. Mike Hassett, the other corner back. Liam Hassett, his brother, linking up. Two men from Lown Rangers, of course, former All-Ireland club champions. Now Tomas O'Shea. Inside for Maurice Fitzgerald. Just kicks it in along the ground towards Mike Frank Russell. Limited to 1 point in this match. That was a beautifully created one in the first half. Chancing his fortune again, but this time he's kicked it left. And that's now a total of 14 wides. But let's have a look at this catch once again. Great Kerry style, the great traditionalists, and that time executed brilliantly by Michael McCarthy.
John Divilly will have to get a much tighter on Maurice Fitzgerald in there. He's giving him too much space just as the kick out in. Maurice is winning the catches and winning the breaks out there.
So Kerry lead in this final by 2 points, and there are about 8 minutes left in the match. Tomas O'Shea seems to be just all Kerry at this stage. Eamon Fitzmaurice needing a bit of assistance, going absolutely nowhere for a moment. Tomas O'Shea going the direct route towards goal, towards Mike Frank Russell, always favouring the corner back, who of course is Richie Fahy. So possession once again for Galway, but they're not quite making that headway that you expect, even though they have scored 6 points during the second half. Will they go towards Joe Bergen? Will they go towards Kevin Walsh with this kick out? Well, they've missed Walsh, they go towards Bergen, but he's not winning it, but it's broken down, fortunately for Galway, to Sean O'Dwyer. Opportunities here, inside for Derek Savage, hasn't scored in the game, nor has Paul Clancy. Clancy just pushing ahead of him, back towards Walsh once again. Can he get another? Rather half-heartedly hit that one. Mike Hassett. Some great foraging, but that's a poor kick, and Divilly is able to snap it up around midfield. Chasing after him is Dara O'Kinada. Take it inside to Corey Joyce, the danger man. Players calling for it. Joyce this time going with the right boot, and Kerry get it back. Galway are lacking a certain element this afternoon. It's just not going their way. But there's still only 2 points in it. John Donnellan about to come in, brother of Michael Donnellan, of course. But if he comes in around full forward, they still have to get that vital possession. They have it here with Michael Donnellan. Holding on, he's a strong player. Not terribly well directed. And it's a wing-back who's in there to try and collect, and he does brilliantly. Dwyer, bad pass. Just as Clancy was waiting for it, it's taken away, and Kerry's Tomas O'Shea coming clear with this one. Johnny Crowley. Ailton McGarrett. Down for Mike Frank Russell. Just 2 men up there. He goes for it himself. It's falling in, and it's falling over the bar. It's that kind of day for Kerry. Mike Frank gets a second point. There are under 5 minutes to play, as you can see from the clock in the top left-hand corner. And this is where the pass played in by McGarrett. There didn't seem to be an awful lot on. In fact, there wasn't. But you have Mike Frank Russell in your side. You've got an opportunity. And he kicked it splendidly. So, at a critical stage in the match, Mike Frank has got the point, and there is a Galway player down. It's Michael Donnellan, who is down injured. Didn't see what happened to him. Did you see it, Tony?
No, but if any other player in the position like Mike Frank was a while ago, you would have said lay it off. But when he got onto his left leg, you could see straight away he had only one thing on his mind, and it's such a crucial time in the game for that ball to go over the bar.
So Tommy Joyce has gone off, and John Donnellan has come on. Michael's back on his feet once again, as you can see. Kerry really have dominated the second half, because they now have 32 scoring chances created in all against 21 for Galway. That's Michael McCarthy, who also needs a bit of help. Ethan Iwuri there, physio looking after him. So we've come down to the last 3 or 4 minutes. And Kerry have brought in a fresh player there, and it's Tommy Griffin who's come in, the number 20. Meanwhile, Darragh Kinnaid is still up there at full forward. Tom O'Sullivan is the player who's been taken off. So this is it for Galway. They've got to gain possession. It goes towards Kevin Walsh, and he is dispossessed by Darragh O'Shea. Without possession, they can do absolutely nothing. And coming from behind that time was Neil Finnegan to take it away from Maurice Fitzgerald. A late opportunity, perhaps, for Galway. Neil Finnegan. Players are calling for it. He drops it in there. Towards Pádraig Joyce, his captain. Sean the player as well. And you feel Galway simply have to go for the second goal in this match, but Kerry get it back, and it is Liam Hassett here. They're all fired up at this stage. They sense that the Sam Maguire Cup could well be within their grasp. It's a great movement, and as we say so, John Divilly, rather blatantly fouls Donal Daly. And there's no question about it, the referee is going to give him a card for that.
Yes, he has to, because there was 2 inside forwards that were after losing their man. But Liam Hassett is after having a stormer of a game down here doing. I know it's Declan went up the field and got the goal and did well going forward, but on his own he has played very, very well out here on the side of the field.
Liam Hassett has scored 3 points in this match. Johnny Crowley's got 2, Don McGarrell 2, and Mike Frank Russell 2 as well. And of course we have to remember the free taking of Darragh Kinnaid, 4 successfully converted. They have now got just about 2 minutes to go. They have that lead of 3 points, and they have Maurice Fitzgerald to take this free, 50 metres out from the Galway goal. Slight breeze behind it. They fist it in, and they fist it over the bar. It looks like it's going to be Kerry, and Eildon McGarrett has got a third. Kerry are about to be crowned champions, barring a miracle. Hard to see how Galway can come back from this. 2 men going for it, and in the end I think the credit goes to McGarrett. Galway have made a late change there. They've made a substitution in the last couple of moments. Paul Clancy has been taken off that Galway team, and the man who's come in is Shea Walsh. Here's Kevin Walsh, dragged down rather blatantly, delaying a bit of time, and the referee may call a side there. The guilty party, who is the number 20, Tommy Griffin. And there's a yellow card as well for Tommy Griffin.
It's all about a goal now at this stage, or they need a goal.
Well, they're at this stage 4 points behind. And the 70 minutes almost up. The defence doing well, but in come Galway, and they managed to get that one over the bar. And it is the man who has just come off the bench there, Shea Walsh, who is credited with that score. Walsh from Glenamaddy, just into the game. So now it's a case of, can Galway get a goal that would take us to extra time? That's their only lifeline. First they have to win this kick out from Declan O'Keefe. The amateur whistler is encouraging Brian White to blow it up. There were some injuries, remember. So it's 16 points for Kerry, 110 for Galway, 16 points to 13. Tomás O'Shea back there, challenged by Shea Walsh. But Kerry looking composed and very cohesive as a unit. And that ball swept on the ground there by Richie Fahy, and it's going to be a free for Pádraig O'Shea's team. The man who took them to glory in '97. Looks like he's going to win the first All-Ireland Championship in football in the new millennium. Johnny Crowley, target practice at this stage. He's wasted up a couple of valuable seconds. There is still that goal between the teams. Fisted back down by Tomás O'Shea. He's played splendidly. Galway get it back here with Gary Fahy. Shea Walsh, also a terrible ball to Kevin Walsh, and Kerry can just finish it off beautifully here, and it's put over the bar by Johnny Crowley from Glenflesk. He scored his 3rd point, and that is surely that. Kerry are surely this year's champions. It's all over, and that's confirmed as we watch this once again. Crowley scores, and the Sam Maguire Cup is won back by the Munster champions, Dara O'Kineda. 4 points, each of them from frees. It was an all-round brilliant performance by Kerry. They went through a very ropey period, but they had possession at that stage. Their heads were high still. They had a great level of confidence in themselves. Great support. Jack O'Connor in there. Maurice Fitzgerald came in early this time. He had an inspiring match. He lifted the team. He scored a point. He did a lot more than that. His presence was very influential. Rice Self didn't get a chance. And they're the teams who will be in action here tomorrow. I hope you'll join us for that as well, of course. The first match in the International Rules Series between Ireland and Australia. Ireland having won the last 2 internationals under Colm O'Rourke. This year, the task falling to Brian McAniff, the Donegal band. And so Kerry will receive the trophy very shortly. Very, very happy Galway or Kerry fans. And the full-time score here, it's Kerry who win by 17 points to Galway's 110. They are the Millennium Football Champions. And that's 32 titles now as we go down to the field to our reporter there, Marty Morrissey.
Paddy O'Shea, congratulations. Making history, the first team to win Sam Maguire of the new millennium.
That's right, we are. It was a strange game, really, you know. Galway started very well in the first half. You know, they started especially in the first quarter, and it took us a little bit of time to come into it. Possibly, I'd say, the fact that we had a couple of games here in Croke Park and we had a few close shaves, and possibly that had a bearing on today. A tight game, you know, we were used to playing a few tight games. I'd say that had played certainly a little bit of a part in it. But we're absolutely delighted, and you know, it was a great year for us now, and you know, we're delighted, Marky.
It showed great determination, great spirit, because after Declan Meehan got a spectacular goal, you still kept your concentration and your focus.
We did, as we say, we had been down that road before, you know, and certainly, you know, it was a wholehearted display today, and we were delighted with all of the panel all through the year. This is what we've been trained for the last year, and we're absolutely delighted. You know, Galway point of view, they'll be disappointed, but for them as well, you know, it was a good year. It was a long year, you know, so we're delighted, Marty.
Well, congratulations, Paddy O'Shea. Well done.
Thank you.
Yes, a great year for Paddy O'Shea once again, and it's such a high-profile position, such a highly pressurised position as well, but he has done it. They may not have reached the heights of other games, but my goodness, they held their focus, as Marty and Paddy were saying, and no doubt about it, worthy champions. Now Sean McCaig.
Wide pressing. The way to go all the bounce na Heron. I was pre-firing of John Collins upon Sean O'Connor now down. I took the noddy up from Tacky up the top at bounce na Heron doing the father. I don't shear the need to shock to me. Wide pressing. The way to go all this in great shore. No more Lena, no more cool. I was a dean in the big part of Iraq on the promoters in Lena. The Anna promoters in the Anna Fleha in the shop like it's on him. I was the Anna Fleha in the recent year. But for guard is done fire. I was Anis, Paristina, Oram, Anis, and we get those on one Oregon of runner and Rachel Brian de Fuite.
Well, the first medal to be presented here is going to be to Brian White, the referee, this afternoon. And then it will be the turn of the runners-up this year. That sad task falls to Galway. Michael Donlan there, alongside John Dively. Lots of sympathy for them, but that means absolutely nothing. They are distraught at this stage.
They give us some terrific entertainment all through the year. Pádraig Choice has been a terrific footballer. We'll remember their performance up against Sligo and Markievicz Park that day, where they blew them away. They played some terrific football that day, and really they can hold their heads high. They were in the game right up to the start of or 10 minutes into the second half, where Kerry just took over, and if Kerry had got those scores that they kicked wide, I think Kerry will be out of sight. So really they can't have any complaint.
Yeah, they were absolutely devastating in that particular match, which you witnessed. I remember being here in Croke Park that afternoon, and somebody said, does anybody know what the score is for Markievicz Park? And somebody said it's 3:15, and back came the reply, I want the score, not the time. It was that kind of a day. Michael Donlan there, very, very sad. The champions of 98 are the runners-up in 2000. Sadly, it's a desperate agony that the Galway players have to go through, the bitterness that they must feel right now, the awful sense of defeat, but they still had a great year, but that counts for nothing. On All-Ireland football final day, it's all about winners. Declan O'Keefe with the ball in the air, but the first man to come up here to take the Sam Maguire Cup will be the remarkable captain, Seamus Moynihan. Sean McCaig offering his congratulations, handing over the Sam Maguire Cup, and Kerry are the champions. Seamus Moynihan, the very popular captain, and the Kerry fans are having a day of days here at Croke Park. This new style of presentation where the fans don't go onto the pitch, where they bring out a podium, and all the players climbing up there now for the first photograph of the All-Ireland champions.
Is mór an honor gomsa or captain Kerry on Turn Glacha. Taoiseach of Ireland, President G. Friends, it's a great honour, it's my greatest honour ever to accept the Sam Maguire on behalf of Kerry and bring it back to Kerry for the first time in the millennium. There's been good days, there's been very bad days, but this is definitely the best year I ever had in my life. First of all, I want to thank all 26 players who have done everything possible to bring Sam Maguire back to Kerry. They've been training since last September, and we've left no stone unturned. And especially the two players that are here today due to injury, that's Barry O'Shea and Johnny McLean. They'll be back again. I'd like to thank our management, our selectors, Eddie Tandler, Eamon Walsh, Jack O'Connor, our trainer, John O'Keefe, for having us in good shape, and it's definitely one of the best trainers in Ireland. But there's one man, a man who's been with us since 96. He has given us fierce pride to Johnson. He's a man that lives, he breathes, and he dies in Kerry. That's the one and only Paddy O'Shea.
Paddy O'Shea there with John O'Keefe. He's done it again.
I'd like to thank our medical staff, our doctor, Dr. Dave Bailey, Keith, our physio, and our masseur, John Kelly, who's put in a huge effort during the year. We haven't missed a night, and it shows that there's been no serious injury at the end of the year. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank the County Board, our Secretary Tony Keefe, our Chairman Sean Walsh, our PRO Willie O'Connor, who have been so good to us during the year. They have looked after us and made sure that everything has been available for us. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank our main sponsors, Kerry Group, who have been with us all the way, have always looked after us, and they're always associated with success, and we're delighted that we have won the Sam Maguire for our main sponsors as well. Finally, I'd like to thank the gallant Galway team here today, a superb team, and in fairness, there has been nothing between the two teams in both days. And I'll tell you one thing, if Jarrett Barry was playing with Galway, I can guarantee you there would be a different result. And on a final note, I would like to thank our supporters who have been with us all year. They have come out. They have come out with their thousands, Sunday after Sunday. They have had a long intervention here. Thank you very much.
So the first All-Ireland football final to be played on a Saturday, won by the great traditionalists themselves from Kerry. It's their 32nd time to win the All-Ireland, and the traditional three cheers for the beaten team. Kerry will be taking that cup back to the kingdom. What a welcome they'll get. Seamus Moynihan, not a bad speechmaker, is he? Very, very popular fellow. You look through the team here, you see what a youthful side it is. Maurice Fitzgerald there on the right-hand side of the picture. But it'll be Moynihan who'll take the Sam Maguire Cup with him. And they can now go on a lap of honour here, which is something completely new, introduced when the insurance regulations were such that they had to keep the supporters off the field. Something of a controversial move, I know. But it's a rule which has been adhered to, maybe reluctantly, by the fans. And now they'll get an opportunity to see their heroes. Moynihan with every photographer under the sun down there, it seems. Trying to get the first snap. And up there on Hill 16, bathed in sunshine at this stage. Mostly Kerry fans. And the Galway people making their way away. They've come here and given good support to both teams. You wonder what might happen if Joe Fallon had been available for Galway, but then there were hard luck stories on the Kerry team as well. Barry O'Shea in particular, not able to play at full back. The Rose of Tralee then sounding in Croke Park as the fans are given the chance to get as close as possible to the team and to the cup. Various photographs being taken by the fans, all in good humour, as you can see at this stage, if you're supporting the green and the gold. And another man who really played a big role in this match today, John O'Mahony, the Galway manager, he's with Marty.
John, no words of mine can obviously capture the way you feel, but if you can put it into words.
Well, this world is about winners, it's not about losers, and I just like to congratulate Kerry. I think, you know, we always knew they were a good team. I felt the better team probably won on the day. It was always there. I felt right up to the last kick of the game that we might even have sneaked a goal, but there it is. You know, you give it everything. They've had a hard year, and they've come through many a battle, and they have Sam now, and who can argue? I feel, you know, our lads battled all the way, and as I said, I thought when we got the goal and got level in the second half that we might just have gone on from there, but you know, there's lots of reasons we can look at it, but you know, we've always won together, we've lost together today, and it's not a nice feeling, and it never has been, but I suppose there has to be two sides to the coin, and we know what the other side was 2 years ago, and you know, I know that a lot of the Galway players, they're very young, there's a lot of football still in them, they're winners. I think today was their 15th championship match, and they're unbeaten in 13 of them, and it's not a bad record over the last few years, but that's what it's about.
Kevin Walsh having to come off in the first half, did that upset your rhythm at a very crucial time, do you think, John?
Oh yeah, well, no doubt it did. I mean, Joe Bergen was always going to come into the game, but yes, it did. I mean, Kevin is a magnificent player, he's a magnificent leader, and you know, the important thing for Galway from now is that Kevin doesn't decide to throw it in, because he has more to offer, but it was a factor, definitely. He twisted the cartilage a bit, and we had a look at it on the line, and he was ready to go in again, and I think he got a point there after he went in. He's a magnificent player, but everyone really battled. You know, no one this time isn't a time for analysis. It's been a great year for Galway in many senses, but at the end of the day we don't have the Sam Maguire Cup, and that's you know, very, very disappointing. There's no doubt about it.
Well, John O'Mahony and Galway, thanks for all the enjoyment you gave us this year.
Thank you very much.
A very pragmatic John O'Mahony saying it all there. It's about winners, and that is the situation right now, and the winners are Kerry, and they're completing their lap of honour. At this stage they've just slowed it down, no need to race, and everybody gets a chance to lift the cup. They've battled hard for it. Not just Munster champions, Kerry are now the All-Ireland champions for the year 2000.
Well, the Galway supporters in the crowd this afternoon, they're already on their way back to the West, disappointed. The Kerry supporters obviously have stayed to congratulate the new All-Ireland champions, and why wouldn't they? As Ger said, it's been a long, hard road for Kerry since that first game against Cork back in June, but it's ended in victory in the All-Ireland, and well-deserved indeed. With me on the panel this afternoon, Colin O'Rourke and Pat Spillane. The first thing we have to say to Pat Spillane is congratulations. It was a magnificent win.
Well, a poor game, Michael. Very poor game.
I mean, they were the better team, and nobody would deny it.
A poor game, a damp squib. That presentation is a little bit of an anticlimax. But the better team won. And were it not for the fact that they kicked 16 wides, 10 in the second half, the game should have been over long before it concluded. Easily the better team. They were the team who learned more from the draw match. Okay, Kevin Walsh was a big loss, but I particularly credit to Paddy. He was under a lot of pressure Delivering in All-Ireland 1 every 3 years isn't good enough for Kerry people. He was under pressure last day over mistakes and subs and switches and whatever like that. Had to deliver today, and he delivered. His substitute introduction of Maurice Fitzgerald proved vital, picked up a lot of winning way. But the better team won. They played the more direct football. They had the better forwards. Look, the defence, a lot of unheralded heroes there. Mike McCarthy, fellas we never hear about, held the Galway full forward line to no score from play. Well-deserved victory for Kerry.
Colm, your assessment?
Yes, Kerry were much the better team and should really have won this match easily. Kerry played as a real team and they exposed a lot of the weaknesses in the Galway team. Galway had 7 or 8 players who were good enough, but once Pádraig Joyce and Michael Donlan weren't firing, they were actually a very limited side after that. Kerry should have won a lot easier.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Now, we have plenty of time to talk and to analyse on this All-Ireland final before we leave it. Also, we'll be talking to some more of the key principals involved in the match. All of that is coming up after this commercial break.
Sometimes in football you don't get what you deserve out of it, but what Kerry did today was they answered any questions that ever lingered about the grit and determination, because when Sean Ogdepuer put Galway in front, you would think at that stage that Galway were in the driving seat. Instead of that, Kerry absolutely dominated the last 20 minutes of the game. They wiped out Galway completely in the middle of the field, and Maurice Fitzgerald came on and absolutely exaggerated the problem. But Donald Daly, Darragh O'Shea, Tomás O'Shea, Maurice Fitzgerald, all those players, and Aidan McGarrett, who was very brave to persist with shooting when things were going wrong for him, they totally dominated that sector of the pitch. Kerry weren't afraid to kick the ball either today, and the men inside fought much harder for it. So very well-deserved victory.
You were making the point that Galway's weak players, and they had more weak players than Kerry, were exposed today.
Yeah, well, I thought before the game that Sean O'Donnell and Kevin Walsh wouldn't last midfield. Now, as it turned out, they didn't last midfield for different reasons. But I thought Kerry had a very decisive edge there. I didn't think John Divilly was up to it at centre back. And I thought that Richie Fahey would probably struggle on Mike Frank Russell. Now, some of those things came through, some of them didn't. But overall, in the man-on-man situations, Kerry had a definite edge in almost every sector of the pitch.
Well, one man who will be relieved this evening, he'll certainly enjoy his pint anyway, Pat Spillane, and that's Paudie himself. There was kind of a lot of pressure on Paudie, the Maurice Fitzgerald and everything else down in Kerry.
There was huge pressure on Paudie to deliver, like they felt, but remember Paudie got his decisions right in the replay against Damas, so I couldn't understand why there was that much pressure, but the Maurice factor was a major issue, and if Kerry had lost today, irrespective of whether Maurice was introduced, Paudie's head was on the block.
Yeah.
So he delivered, and fair play to him, and I know that man has made as many sacrifices as the players, and Maurice did make a great contribution, as Colm said when he came on.
Surprised he brought him in the first half.
Well, I think he learned from when they brought Maurice Fitzgerald on in the drawn game. They brought him at a time. Usually when Maurice is introduced, he gives a great boost to the team, and the Kerry crowd really rised it. That happened in all the games up to the draw match. But in the draw match, when he was actually introduced at the time that Galway were taking the free. Came onto the field unnoticed and played virtually anonymous. Today they learned from that. Maurice came on, the crowd knew he was coming on. He lifted the team, and it was at the time that Kerry was starting to dominate again. And he's a central player, and he played as a third midfielder there, caught some vital ball, and gave John Divilly, who is quite a poor player, a severe roasting. But looking at Galway, like their star players today didn't perform, the Pádraig Joyces, the Michael Donlans, and like I said, credit to unsung heroes like Tomás O'Shea and Tom O'Sullivan, those fellas.
And yet, Colm O'Rourke, as you said, when Sean Ogdepuer got the point of the second half that gave Galway the lead, the initiative at that stage was theirs.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. At that stage, you would say Galway were on a roll. And Sean Ogdepuer upped his personal performance a lot from the first game, and he drove forward to try and help Galway, because they were in big trouble in their attack. There was no getting away from that. And this is a great point in off the post. But after that, Kerry outscored Galway by 8 points to 3 in the last 20 minutes of the game. And it's interesting to note too that the Kerry full forward line, I think, got 8 points from play, while the starting Galway forward line did not score from play at all. So it just shows like that Galway had severe trouble in that full forward line. I was actually quite surprised that they didn't bring in John Donlan in there early in the second half, because at least they could have kicked high ball in and he'd have fought for it, because most of the ball went in, and Seamus Moynihan came out with it. An absolutely brilliant player, and fitting that he should be the first man to lift the cup in the new millennium.
One of those Kerry forwards that scored those 8 points that Colm was talking about, Liam Hassett, the point that he got that we're going to have a look at now, put Kerry 2 up again, was nice little cushion again at a vital stage in the match.
At 12 points to 1-8, Galway were attacking, and Niall Finnegan kicked a very, very bad wide. And from the resulting kick-out, we'll see the thing. Maurice Fitzgerald won a great catch. It was simple, direct football. Liam Hassett took it on and scored a great point on the run. So instead of Finnegan scoring a point and leave it a draw, it was 2 points behind. And that was the difference that Maurice Fitz made. Got those vital catches, and Liam Hassett today, he's an unsung hero. Did a lot of work back in defence, but scored 3 great points as well.
Maurice Fitz, as we talked about, Galway rallied again, Colin, after that, but Maurice Fitz then contributed another point, and again it was another vital one, again the little cushion.
Yes, well, a Maurice Fitzgerald point for Kerry is worth about 3 points, because it lifts players and it lifts the crowd. And to do it the way he did it here as well, he had one thing on his mind when he caught that ball. It was a magnificent catch to start with, but he was going for his point. There was a man outside him free. There was no way he was going to give it to him once he had that in his line, and it just crept inside the post, put Kerry 2 points up, and from then on, for the last 10 minutes of the game, Kerry were totally dominant.
Michael Frank didn't make the contribution today, or wasn't allowed that he made the last day pass, but his second point put Kerry 3 points up, and you could see Galway's head start to go down at this point.
Well, I think this was the insurance point, but again, harking back, it came out of bad Galway play. Galway over-elaboration in attack, ball moved quickly, great defensive play by Tomas O'Shea, and a superb left-footed point by Michael Frank Russell. Like I said, Michael Frank can kick with both left and right, and that was the difference between the two teams today. The Kerry forward line, admittedly they kicked on 16 wides, but their play was more direct. Galway, you know, there was always that feeling about them being fancy dancers and nice little dancers and over-elaborating, and too many times today they took the wrong option, they took the extra pass when a point was on much earlier. They danced around, they got into corners, they had to walk the ball back into corners, and it was easily snuffed out by the Kerry defence.
Well, the Sam Maguire Cup is safely under the arm of one Seamus Moynihan, the Kerry captain. Came in as a kind of a stopgap full-back for Kerry this year. What a stopgap. He's talking to us now.
Far from being a stopgap full-back, Michael Lester was just describing that, Seamus Moynihan. A wonderful year for you personally, and a great year as a full-back.
Great, Marty. I'm just so happy, Marty, we've won, you know. We don't care whether I played good, bad or indifferent. The most important thing was the result. I think it was a brilliant all-round performance by Kerry there. Anyone that came on from the bench did what had to be done. And I think it was an all year. It was a 25 players' effort, and we're so happy with the win today. And you know, the sweetest thing about it is that we're after beating one of the best teams, you know, in Galway, and they were a superb team. And you know, it just showed that there was very little between the two teams. You know, at the end, you know, they just kept plugging away, and we just got a point at the end to make it 4. But you know, exceptional team, and that makes it even better again.
It's a great example for footballers right across the country that hard work can actually win games, because after conceding that spectacular goal, you still stayed on it.
Yeah, I think, you know, the most important thing I say, we were never going to give in today, like whether we were going to start good or you know, play bad in the second half. We had it in our minds that we were going to play for 70 minutes, and whether it was going wrong for 69 minutes, we were going to keep playing until then anyway. And you know, I think Declan Meehan got a great goal. In fairness to him, you know, he's a very hard person to mark, and he took his goal brilliantly. Other guys would have probably taken the point early on, but he took it and put us under pressure for more goal. But I think we showed a bit of experience. We kept taking the points away, and eventually the points won the game for us.
The introduction of Maurice Fitzgerald, from your viewpoint, was it vital?
I think, you know, Maurice Fitzgerald just showed what a brilliant player he was. I think after the replay, the first game, people were writing him off, saying that his legs were gone and things like that. But I think, you know, Maurice put in an exhibition there on the centre forward. He caught balls, he made dummies, and he kicked the point as well. And you know, his contribution was brilliant. But having said that, like, you know, Tommy Griffin came on, and there was a lot of guys that, you know, outside of Maurice that didn't play their part today. And you know, obviously Maurice was brilliant today, but I think it was the whole panel of 25 guys that won it for us this year, Marty.
Well, a great year for Kerry and a great year for Seamus Moynihan. Congratulations.
Thank you. Right.
Seamus, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, Seamus Moynihan there, and Marty Morrissey trying to drop me in it with the Kerry people.
Again?
Again. Colin O'Rourke, let's look at Galway for a moment. It's a relatively young team. They've won the All-Ireland 2 years ago. What about the future for this team, for John O'Mahony perhaps?
Well, I'm sure John O'Mahony has a very bright future. I'm sure he'll hardly walk away from Galway knowing John O'Mahony the way I do, because he's a man of real passion for the game. It'll take a lot out of him to lose it, but in the end of the day, Galway weren't good enough. And they wouldn't be good enough, I don't think, to come back and win with that same team again, young and all as they are. They certainly have a few serious weaknesses. They are very poor around the middle of the field.
Well, it was indicative that they had to bring Kevin Walsh back on, an injured player.
Yes, like Joe Bergen will get better, and he will be good enough in time. But Sean O'Donnell and Kevin Walsh are not good enough any longer. They have had their day, and that's not been hard on them, because they have been great servants of Galway. John Dibley hasn't been up to scratch this year, partly I'd say because of the fact that he's been injured and has missed a lot of the training, and he just can't afford to miss the training. So for players like that, if they are good enough, they'll go away now and say, I'm going to get back to the form I was in 96 or 97 and train hard for it. But, you know, there's a long road back for Galway.
All right, well, let's pick up on another interview with one of the winning team. I think Aidan McGarrett is talking to us now.
Aidan, a great achievement for Kerry.
It's absolutely brilliant, Marty. I suppose 4 games in Croke Park this year. I mean, look, just looking around now, it's getting dark. I mean, it's October. It's just absolutely brilliant. You know, I still can't believe we've won in All-Ireland. It's been a tough All-Ireland to win, and we're just delighted to be on the right side of it today.
Was there a feeling over the last 2 weeks, Aidan, considering the great start you had against Galway the last day, that perhaps the chance was gone?
Yeah, we all felt like that, but even talking to a few of the Galway players, they felt they threw it away as well. So both teams, you know, were going in starting afresh, as you could say, and it was made the best team win. And you know, we just had that little more bit in the end, and you know, it's just brilliant. Like, I suppose it's the first time we've actually finished strongly in any game this year, so it's just a great sign of the character of the team, Marty.
You had a great tussle with Sean Og, the player, today.
Yeah, he's a fantastic footballer. I mean, you can't keep... I mean, he got 1 point off me there, and he bursts up the field. He's got great pace, and I mean, I don't know, he's just... It's like chasing an Olympic athlete. He's just unreal.
Well done, Aidan, and congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Marty.
OK, that's almost time for us then to wrap up from Croke Park for the moment. Now, I'll be back on your screens again at 8:30 tonight. That's for the World Cup qualifier between Portugal and the Republic of Ireland. Another big game of prospect there, of course. That's on Network 2. And then, after all of that, I'll be switching codes immediately. Back again to GEA 11:15 on Network 2 for highlights of today's All-Ireland final, plus analysis and, of course, the announcement of the RTE Man of the Match. And then we're all back again tomorrow with the first of the Coca-Cola International Rules matches. That's between Ireland and Australia. That's on Network 2, and it's just before 2:30. Nothing more then left for me to do except to thank the panel. Colin O'Rourke has been with us here this afternoon, and a victorious Pat Spillane, and congratulations again to Kerry. All right, bye-bye from all of us at Croke Park. Thank you for watching. See you later on.
Won the last 2 internationals under Colin O'Rourke. Won the last 2 internationals under Colin O'Rourke. This year, the task falling to Brian McInniff, the Donegal band. And so Kerry will receive the trophy very shortly. Very, very happy Kerry fans. And the full-time score here, it's Kerry who win by 17 points to Galway's 110. They are the Millennium Football Champions. Sean McCaig offering his congratulations, handing over the Sam Maguire Cup, and Kerry are the champions. Seamus Moynihan, the very popular captain, and the Kerry fans are having a day of days here at Croke Park.
So then, congratulations to Kerry, the first All-Ireland football champions of the new millennium. Commiserations too to John O'Mahony and his gallant Galway side, who really did put it up to Kerry, but I suppose they won't really argue with today's result. Now, we'll be going over to the Kerry post-match reception in a little while. That's for reaction of the players, and we'll also be announcing who our experts consider to be the RTE man of the match in today's game. Now, before we head over to hear from the Kerry team, let's hear from their opponents today, Galway. Jim Carney spoke to some of the team as they arrived at their hotel this evening.
Well, Galway may be down and out of the race to make it 2 All-Irelands in 3 years. But here tonight in the City West, there's immense pride in the achievements of this team and in their status in the modern game. Nearly 1,300 people have gathered here tonight to pay tribute. And we're joined by 2 of the players from the team, Pádraig Joyce, the captain, and John Dibley. Pádraig Joyce, this is wonderfully uplifting to see this atmosphere and this mood here tonight, but you came up for a lot more.
Yeah, it is, as I said, Jim, like, it's very uplifting. Like, it's a bit overwhelming, really, like, to see all the good wishes you get off Galway people saying well done and we're proud of you, like, you know. But I mean, personally, I'm awfully disappointed that we didn't win the game today, like. But on saying that, like, I have no complaints because the best team on the day won it, and I'm delighted with Seamus Moynihan and the Kerry lads, you know, because he really deserved it, and so did the team, you know.
An extraordinary thing, Pádraig, that you and Seamus so close, such great fun, friends. You talk after matches on the phone, and you ended up, you know, all the talk about the duels between you, and of course both captains as well, and it's his day.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. It is Seamus' day. Like, I mean, he's without a doubt like man of the match. Like, he did a fantastic game full back there, you know. I had to run out the field a little bit out of the way, try and get away from him, try and get a few balls off him, but didn't work out. So I'm back in again, and sure, like I was going like hitting off a brick wall like all day because he was absolutely outstanding. And I'm delighted for the fella because he deserved a few All-Stars the last few years and didn't get them. So now he's got football. He'll surely get football of the year and stuff like that. And I'm delighted for him personally, like, you know.
Well, it's so important the G fellas now stick together. John Dibley here, your old schoolmate in St. Giles. It's important now surely that you stick together and keep your heads up.
I mean, Jim, yeah, it's true, like, no doubt, like, we'll sit together for the next 3 or 4 days and then maybe 5 days, you know. But, I mean, after that, like, I mean, we'll just sit down, like, and go in our own and stuff like that. But I can't see us, like, splitting up or anything. Like, there's no big major thing. Like, I mean, we won in All-Ireland, like, 2 years ago. John O was telling us before the game, like, that we've lost 2 championship matches out of 15, like, which is a fair record, like, in fairness, like, you know. But I don't see no big split in the camp. Everyone is enthusiastic about it, like, I mean, we're very downbeat tonight, like, which is as expected, like, you know. But I mean, we'll be back again, like, you know. We're young enough side, like, you know.
Great spirit, Pádraig. John Dibley, 23 years of age. I know you'll be feeling down tonight, but you know there will be a chance to come back.
Oh yeah, well sure. Like, this is what football is all about. You know, you win some, you lose some. I suppose we realised tonight, you know, what we've got in our back pockets. We're lucky to win in '98, so we lost tonight. But you know, we'll get back to business in a few months' time, and we'll be back for next year's championship.
John, a word about your captain here, because you know, if you'd won it today, it might be Pádraig who'd be not just getting the Sam McGuire Cup, but also Footballer of the Year. It's extraordinary, isn't it? You know how closely their careers have paralleled each other. You know, this year, Seamus and Pádraig.
Yeah, well, you know, like, we're all soldiers under one captain, like, and Pádraig has been a fantastic leader all year. We're all very proud of him, what he's done and what he's yet to achieve. You know, we're all very good friends, which is, you know, people mightn't realise it, but, like, you know, when everything finishes tonight and tomorrow, we're going to meet up, you know, in the next few days and go out and have the crack, you know. So, you know, all we can do is soldier on. It's been a disappointing day for Galway supporters and Galway people, but we're all delighted to be under Pádraig and John O'Mahony, and hopefully Pádraig and John O'Mahony will lead us on to greater things in years to come.
Well, congratulations to you both on magnificent effort, and we thank you for being gracious and speaking to us tonight.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Well, it's never easy to face the media having lost in the final, the Galway players beaten but philosophical in defeat. But it's time now for a brief look at what the Irish fans in Portugal, that's for the World Cup qualifier, thought about today's game. Gareth O'Connor mingled with some Galway and Kerry fans who opted for the Sun of Lisbon in place of Croke Park this afternoon.
Lisbon was the hottest place in Europe today, and Irish football fans took advantage of the soaring temperatures to watch the All-Ireland football final replay in the open air. Hundreds of fans converged on Plaza Sony at the Expo Centre in the centre of Lisbon to watch it on a big screen. We're told one of Europe's biggest television screens. The event was organised by Setanta Sports, although many opted not to pay their £20 admission fee and watched it from outside the barriers. And the fans who came here enjoyed the occasion.
The best goal was ever seen in Croke Park was the one today. That's the only consolation.
What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, totally. Yeah, the better team, I think, won. Like, they probably had their chance the last day to do it, you know, and just didn't. So over the 2 games, I think probably the better team.
It was a great performance by the Kerry team. They kind of left behind in the second half last year. They were very disappointed in the second half in the drawing game. But today they showed they were the best team in the county.
What about you? What did you make of the game?
Excellent. The atmosphere was brilliant. Brilliant. Delighted with the results. Really are.
Yes, I am very happy with the result because it was a fantastic game of football between 2 of the best teams in Ireland. What more can a man expect here in the sunshine?
Yeah, good day for Kerry people. The result at Croke Park, and I suppose the result in Lisbon as well. John O'Mahony and Tommy Lyons with me here in studio. Tommy Lyons, Kerry have had a rough, hard year between replays and extra time and everything, so they will really feel this evening very, very satisfied with all that.
Yeah, I think Kerry will be particularly satisfied today. A lot of question marks coming into the game, and I think, you know, they'll be happy going home tonight. Of course they will. They've won the All-Ireland. But I think they gave a good performance over 70 minutes today. Yeah. They never once hit the peak of the first 25 minutes the last day, but they played at a consistent level throughout the 70 minutes. I think that was wonderful for them in the end.
John Mahon, of course, not John O'Mahony we have here with us in the programme. Sorry about that, John.
Problem,
it was a well-deserved win. I mean, I thought Galway battled as hard as they could, but just weren't good enough, I suppose.
That's the ironic thing about it. Galway didn't play badly. Like, I mean, you couldn't identify any particular Galway player who didn't play well today. They played as well as they were allowed.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Kerry were the best team over the two games, and you know, watching the post-match interviews there with a couple of the Galway boys, they're the first to acknowledge that fact. But in particular, the Galway forward line again. Like, I mean, they're terrific footballers, and the full forward line in particular today scored 8 points from play, as against the Galway full forward line, who didn't score any point from play. That was the difference, really. And the other significant factor for me was the fact that Kerry midfield, for the first time this year's championship, managed to sustain their effort for the 70 minutes. We've seen them in the majority of the games they played this year, where they've gone out of games. This year, Donald Daly had a super game today. Like, I mean, Dara O'Shea will be the one who has been carrying Kerry at midfield for the last year. But today, Donald Daly had a fantastic game. And Galway midfield, with the loss of Kevin Walsh, suffered. Now, Joe Bergen didn't play badly, but Kevin Walsh, like his absence from the field there for about 14 minutes, did affect Galway in that department.
Kerry seemed to come in to get the point or two every time that Galway put on the spurt. Now, you picked out some of the Kerry points, and this was the difference. Kerry were always able to hit back with something.
That's true. Like, I mean, and they have the players. Like, I mean, they have got the John Crowleys, the Liam Hatzes, the Michael Frank Russells, who kicked wonderful points today. And here we see a couple of examples of terrific Kerry play, and that's an absolutely wonderful score. Like, I mean, there's nothing a cornerback can do about that. Here we see Morris, who played particularly well when introduced, but putting on a great pass there, having won the ball at midfield, giving a super ball to Liam Hassett, and that's an easy score for Liam. He had a super game also today. But, like, I mean, Kerry, despite the number of wides, and that's 16 wides in today's game, they never stopped shooting. Like, I mean, their confidence levels never suffered. We saw Dara O'Shea, who kicked a bad wide at one stage, you know, settling down his forwards, and there's another wonderful score from Michael Frank. And you know, there's very little a Galway defence can do with the likes of that.
Sure. Well, we've seen today in sport, Tommy Lyons, two of the most stunning goals we've seen for a long time. One of them by Matt Holland, of course, for Ireland, a little bit earlier on, but the other one was at Croke Park.
Hi, yeah, Declan Meehan, I think, who got paid very little for today's goal. You know, today's goal was as good a goal as we've seen in Croke Park. It started at the very beginning where Kevin Walsh took it off the crossbar. And, you know, this is as good a goal as you see in Gaelic football. It incorporates the short possession part of the game. They weren't going to give the ball away. They were still moving the ball at pace. They were always moving forward. You know, the whole pace of this move is just brilliant. Porrick Joyce comes up again, having started it. This is Joyce now getting the ball. Great ball into Derek Savage. Savage turned without looking, and he knew his man had made the run. You know, Declan Meehan, you know, fair play to him. That's one hell of a great finish. He got his chance and he took it. Is there a better goal scored in Croke Park for a long, long time? I haven't seen it.
Well, the other Declan O'Keefe admitted he didn't even see the ball.
And no, it was just a great goal. And I thought it probably came a bit early for Galway today. And to get the real benefit from it, it probably settled Kerry and got them more focused. And maybe Galway could have done that maybe 5 minutes before half-time.
Just on a general point, Tommy, we've had phone calls and emails from people, you know, the usual sort of comments, I suppose, after the game. But one of the consistent things is a lot of people didn't agree with Pat Spillan's view that this wasn't a great game of football, which he mentioned on the live programme. What did you think of the overall standard of the game?
I thought the overall standard, I fundamentally disagree with Pat on that one, I'd have to say, but you know, I thought the standard of the game today was superb. I thought the sportsmanship we've had over the last 2 games has done a credit to our association. I think there wasn't a bad bell thrown, and both teams tried to play football, and I think, you know, as GA followers, we can't really expect any better than that. And I thought some of the scores today were just as good as we've ever seen. And I know Pat came from an era where, you know, the fellas could do everything with the ball, but we don't have that now. But today was as good a game as we've had all year.
You were at the after-match drinks up in Croke Park today. So, Porrick Joyce and Seamus Moynihan together.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there they were. You know, 45 now after one win and one losing All Ireland, having a pint of Guinness together, and I just thought it was just superb to see. You know, the friendship in sport is what it's about in the end. They are amateur players. These players, it's now over. They've got to go back to their club. Their club champs are probably only at quarter-final stage, and there's a lot of parish teams who are saying, hey, you know, forget about that, mate. We need you now next Sunday.
Tonight, though, obviously, John, from a Galway point of view, they've lost. This is something that you will understand, unfortunately, losing a replay of an All-Ireland final.
Yeah, that's true, but as Porrick Joyce or John Dibley made the very, very valid point there, 2 defeats in 15 championship matches is absolutely superb record. But when you look at that Galway team, the majority of them, with the exception of maybe Kevin Walsh, like, I mean, he's had a rough last couple of years with injury, played well today, but I think that's possibly maybe Kevin's last game, and it'd be unfortunate that he didn't go out on a winning note. But I think generally speaking, they have a very, very good setup there, some wonderful, wonderful players, and unfortunately today for Galway, their star players just didn't have the games that would have been expected of them, and no disrespect to Michael Donnelly now, he didn't play as well as he might have liked, you know, and Porrick Joyce and shackles were put on him big time.
Would you expect John O'Mahony to stay with Galway and keep the backroom team together?
I would say he wouldn't be allowed leave. Like whether he wants to go or not. John O has been...
Get him off of the border.
That's true. John O has been involved, in football management. They talk about Sean Boylan's great record. John has been involved for about 18 years also. Started off with Mayo under 21s back in 1982. So it's a long, long time. And I'm sure he's tired, but Galway can take a break now, amble through the league. That won't be important for them to come back and refresh to a new team. And looking at the football scene in Connacht at the moment, I think Galway, handy enough, will win a Connacht title, retain a Connacht title, and then start training and try and sustain an effort for the championship next year. I was going to make one point there, Michael, in relation to the whole atmosphere of the occasion today. I think it's rather unfortunate that that we don't have the crowd on the pitch, which is a little bit unfortunate. It takes away, and I can understand maybe Pat Span looking at the game and saying it wasn't an excitement game.
Yeah.
The big crowd in the match.
I suppose with Hogan Stan not being there as well, it does actually take a little bit from it.
It sucks a little bit from it.
One thing though, Tommy Lange, you can't deny that Paddy got it right today in terms of the tactics of the game and switches and so forth.
Yeah, you'd have to say they took a lot of stick the last day. John O'Mahony got all the plaudits for making all the right moves. When Kerry made the right switches today, the switch of Hassett onto Meehan, Kennelly wasn't playing badly as a forward going forward, but Meehan was destroying him when he was going forward. Hassett stopped Meehan going forward and curbed that threat on Galway. And also Maurice Fitz, when they brought him in, they eventually brought him out to centre forward.
Yeah.
And he certainly made 3 great catches, scored a great point, laid on a point for Hassett, and really turned the game for Kerry at a vital moment. And certainly the switches worked for Kerry today.
Kerry have 2 All-Irelands in 4 years now. Is there another one in the next year?
Yeah, Kerry have had a conveyor belt of 21 All-Ireland teams there for the 2 or 3 years in a row. They have a lot of very good young players. McGarrett and Hassett and all these lads, they'll all develop out of this whole experience this year. And they've another 2 or 3 or 4 chomping at the bit to get in.
Yeah.
And I think Kerry, we're looking, I think, at a period of Kerry dominance again. Okay, they have to play Cork, and that's a toss-up every year. But if they get by that, Kerry will be hard beaten in any All-Ireland over the next 2 or 3 years.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for the moment on that. Now we'll be hearing from the panel again a little bit later on. But it's time now for us to go over to Marty, who's with the victorious Kerry team.
As you can imagine, out here in Leopardstown, there's a great air of jubilation and excitement as Kerry, of course, celebrate their 32nd All-Ireland senior football title. A remarkable achievement. And joining me now are 2 men who contributed to today's victory. John Crowley, score of 3 points, Maurice Fitzgerald, score of 1. John Crowley, try to just capture for me what the year and what winning the Sam Maguire has meant to you and to Kerry.
It's been a fierce long year. I think the lads are saying we're training over 12 months now since last October, and I think we put in a phenomenal effort this year. Everything that could be done was done this year, and I think just from the 26 lads who were involved in the panel and 2 lads who've been injured, John McGlynn and Barry Shea, we put in a huge effort, and I think we got our rewards today, and I'm just delighted for everyone in the panel.
Score of 3 points in All-Ireland final. It's a good day's work, John Crowley.
Yeah, things worked out all right. We had a good spread of scorers today, from all over the forwards, and even from midfield, and Morris came on and contributed as well, so we were delighted with the way it worked out. And there was...
You're saying all the right things here, John. Which brings me nicely to Maurice Fitzgerald. You got a huge reception when you came onto the field. Obviously, you were anxious to go on there and contribute to the victory.
Well, obviously, Marty, it's a great honour to play with your county in an All-Ireland final, and this is a very special year of Johnny's. The amount of effort and training that has gone in, with the management and all the players that contributed. It's just been a tremendous long, hard year, and given that there was 2 semi-finals and 2 finals, I think the team were very focused and very mature and very clued into today. We certainly weren't going to go home without Seamus Moynihan carrying back the Sam Maguire, and no fitting person to carry it home than Seamus Moynihan. We're delighted to him.
Captain Kerry, tell me, that very fact is very important to you. The fact that Seamus Moynihan was captain, you wanted him to bring Sam.
Well, he's the best
back.
footballer in the country.
Right, gentlemen, thank you for that. Now, we were talking here actually about who played well in the match today, and outstanding performances, John, on both sides for you?
Well, I suppose from a goal perspective, I thought Declan Meehan had an excellent game. The defence in general were played particularly well today for Galway. And, okay, they conceded 17 points, but I thought Declan Meehan, you know, wonderful goal, but had a very, very good game throughout.
Yeah.
From a Kerry perspective, Michael Frank, Liam Hassett, Johnny Crowley, full forward line, excellent. Like, I mean, Morris today, and any substitution when you're on a winning side is an aspired substitution, it's always a good one, but Morris today was excellent. He had a, you know, he was involved in 3 of the scores, kicked a wonderful point at a critical juncture, and I thought he was superb today.
Your dad thought Morris was the man of the match.
Yes, he did. He said, Tommy, he said, you want to give it to Morris Fitzgerald. Well, I said, it's not my decision, it's the collective one. But I thought the Fahy brothers did very well today.
Yeah,
both Gary and Richie. Yeah, and I thought they had a solid game. I mean, they weren't, you know, they weren't under real pressure throughout the game. Michael McCarthy was as close as you'll get to man of the match. I mean, he put the shackles on Derek Savage, and we spoke, you know, over the last 2 weeks about, you know, could Michael McCarthy and Seamus Moynihan stop Joyce and Savage? Today it happened, and to me that's the real reason why Kerry won. And in the end of the day, you have to go with Seamus Moynihan as man of the match, because his whole leadership today, his whole stewarding of Kerry was just outstanding. Even down to running 50 yards at the, you know, down to 50 yards there at the end of the game with Miles Fitz had a free.
Yes.
You know, he still got time to come forward, which he didn't do the last day. He absolutely, you know, took the game to go a few times today. His feeling of the ball, his whole composure, you know, he didn't give the ball away once today. And you know, they say he's not a full-back. Well, I tell you, there's not too many better full-backs that can catch a ball like that. He always was there for Declan O'Keefe to take the ball, start the move, took responsibility, another great pass out to get the game going. You know, Seamus Moynihan, he's player of the year, there's no doubt at all either. I don't think the media can get that wrong this year either. It's very, very clear-cut. And, you know, fair play to Seamus. He's a great ambassador for our game. He was a great captain, you know, a great leader down in Australia last year with John McDermott. And you know, I have great time for him. I think he's a great guy as well, and he presents the game very well.
Well, he is our man of the match from the All-Ireland football final replay, and Seamus is now talking to Marty Morrissey.
Well, Seamus Moynihan, some year, marvellous year to not only be a Kerry footballer, but indeed be a Kerry captain as well.
Exactly, Marty. I said after in the interview I did afterwards, I think one thing I said, I think today was I was happy for one thing. I think I was happy for the whole players involved, the whole 26 players, because I think what effort those players put in during the year was absolutely phenomenal. I've been involved in a lot of teams through colleges and county teams and club teams, but I've never seen a bunch of players gel as good and train as hard and row in exactly the same direction. They did everything that was required. Anything that John O'Keefe asked them to do, they did it. And, you know, Paddy was absolutely instrumental as well, what he was telling us to do. And I'm so happy for those players. And I think it was totally 26 players that brought back Sam Maguire to Kerry this year.
Difficult question. Is it better than 97?
It's hard to say, Marty. I think 97 was brilliant because it was such a long time. You know, in 1984 or 1986 was the last time we brought back Sam Maguire back to Kerry, and it was such a relief. I think there was so much pressure on the Kerry team that year. It was brilliant that year. I think. I suppose when you look back at it, a lot of people had said that we won a soft Ireland that year, and if you had taken Morris Fitzgerald out of the Kerry team, we probably wouldn't have won it. And it's fair to say that, but when you look at the players like Liam Flaherty, Eamon Breen and Stephen Stack and Barry O'Shea that year, the performance they put in, it would have been unfair on those guys. But having said that, Morris Fitzgerald was brilliant on the day. But I think today is special because it was such a workman-like performance from all the players.
Behind your back, you don't know how many Kerry players have said to me, we wanted to win this for Seamus Moynihan. It was that important. Anyway, before you go, there's another addendum. There's a cheque from Bank of Ireland, sponsors of the championship, from Lisa Brown. And if you notice a special smile, it's the fact that Lisa is also from Tralee in County Kerry. I'm very happy to be ladies and gentlemen, the Ireland football champions, and Seamus Moynihan, our team man of the match.
That's our man of the match, and well deserved. We must just apologise for the quality of the picture there. We did a bit of a technical problem out in Leopardstown. All right then, well that's our lot for today, and what a day it's been. Indeed, What a season of championship football it's been. And there's more action to come, of course, because tomorrow at 2:30 we're back with live coverage of Ireland versus Australia in the first test of the International Rules series. Now don't forget, if you have the energy for it, there's also live coverage of the Japanese Grand Prix at 6:15 this morning on RTE1. I'll never wake up in time. I have to set 2 alarms. Well, I'm afraid this evening Galway are left tonight to dream of what might have been, and I'm sure the members of the 30-odd other counties who provided us with such wonderful entertainment this championship season, they will have similar aspirations for their sides next year. My thanks to Tommy Lyons and to John Maughan for their assistance this year, but we're going to leave you with a few memories from the championship of the year 2000.